What's up, folks? Welcome back to the stream. It's Friday, and we're getting fractical today because it's Space Marine Day. Yesterday was Tyranid Day. We got every single data sheet out of the Tyranid Index, the whole Tyranid Index all together. Now we have the Space Marine one, and this stream is going to be a freaking doozy, everybody, because the Space Marine Index document is 3 times as long as the Tyranid one. So let's go. At least 2.5, I guess. I think the Tyranid document was 94 pages. This one is 252. So this is going to be an absolutely wild stream. We're going to go do the whole thing, everyone. Get those hypes in chat, and let's jump in. So yeah, a lot of this stuff we already know about. We know all the stratagems. We know all of the detachment and army abilities. But just like we did yesterday, we will give them another little look-see here just to sort of refresh everybody as to what's going on. I'm going to resize my viewer a little bit so it's larger for everybody viewing at home. Nope, too big. Let's not do that. There we go. All right, well, that seems good, right? That seems all right, everybody. Has more data sheets than the Tyranid one has pages. Yeah, I think. I mean, there's a lot of the abilities. At least I haven't read through the whole document yet. I've read through like the first couple, and it looks like a lot of the abilities are going to get reused between characters and stuff. So there's a lot of characters that operate kind of the same, but they just join different units. We can talk about that in a second, though. But obviously, they have Oaths of Moment. So we also get the Space Marine chapter roll, so that's sick. So we actually get to know how these epic heroes work. So at the start of your command phase, you pick an enemy unit and you get rerolls against it, hit and wound. Seems really strong, so that's pretty good. If an Adeptus Astartes unit has a second faction keyword on its data sheet, that faction keyword is the name of the unit's chapter. For example, Marnius Calgar has both Adeptus Astartes and Ultramarines. You cannot include units from more than one chapter in your army. Okay. Well, that was one way that we had sort of considered the epic heroes working between the Space Marine chapters. And I'm glad that we have confirmation. So you can't mix and match Space Marine characters or unique units, full stop. It looks like regardless of whether or not that's in their unique detachments, once we see the Space Marine non-compliant chapter detachments, or the Gladiator Strike Force detachment, which we'll talk about next, it looks like you're not going to be able to switch it and mix and match. So there you go. No soup. Soup bad. Stop it. That's sad because you can't take like White Scar's Gilliman anymore though. So that you can't take like the Great Blue Wolf and play like Space Wolf's Gilliman and stuff. Oh well. It is what it is. Soup is basically all that we got in this edition anyway, so that's all right. The detachment roll, you get once per game uses of detachment abilities. Devastator Doctrine, you can advance and shoot. Tactical Doctrine, you can fall back and shoot and charge. Assault Doctrine, you can advance and charge. So you're able to do different. You can do all the different movement types and still fire as normal. Assault or a Devastator Doctrine is going to be really important because, like we talked about in the stream yesterday, for the mission actions, or at least what are the new equivalents of actions, you now can perform them as long as you're eligible to make ranged attacks. And you're not automatically stopped from doing it if you advance. As long as you have some sort of effect on you that lets you advance and shoot, you can advance and perform actions. You can't then shoot, but you're good to go. So that's rad. The stratagems we already know about. Only in Death to the End lets you fight on death. Armor of Contempt gives you -1 armor penetration against you. I heard some discussion about this, like just basically being able to double up this with Go to Ground, being like +2 to your armor save. I think there is the potential that that's probably really strong, but the level of survivability in this edition is probably unparalleled, so I think that's basically to be expected. Onur the Chapter gives you +1 to wound on the charge in melee, and if you're in Assault Doctrine, you get +1 AP. Storm of Fire is the same thing. You get ignore cover, and if you're in Devastator Doctrine, you get +1 AP. Squad Tactics lets you make it's a little bit of a phantasm effect. You use it, or it's a reactive move, I guess. After an enemy unit ends a normal move, advance or fall back. If you're within 9 inches of them, you can move D6. If you're Tactical Doctrine, you move up to 6. So that's rad. And then Adaptive Strategy lets you put yourself in any of those doctrines. That lasts until your next command phase. So it goes for the whole round, and then you can use things like Squad Tactics to benefit from that if you put yourself in Tactical Doctrine. The Doctrine effects are super strong, so I think just having a 1 CP advance and charge or a 1 CP advance and shoot is like kind of nutso. It is limited in that you can only Adaptive Strategy one thing, but just having all of those effects on a stick is already incredibly powerful. So, I mean, Space Marines, just from their detachment and army abilities, Space Marines already look absolutely insane. All right, we have some enhancements. I think we had learned about these before. Artificer Armor, you get a 2+ save and a 5+ feel no pain. Probably good on a Gravis Captain. They also have damage, so you can make a Captain basically impossible to kill. So, which is pretty good. Oh, excuse me, chat. Got a little stuffy nose this morning. Let's see. The Honor Vehement gives you +1 attack and strength if you're in Assault Doctrine, +2 attack and strength. That's solid. Adept of the Codex gives you... instead of selecting a Combat Doctrine to be active for your army, you can select Tactical Doctrine. If you do until the start of your next command phase, the Doctrine is active for the bearer's unit only, even if you have selected that doctrine to be active for your army. I have already selected that doctrine to be active. So you can just always put yourself into Tactical Doctrine if you're not using another doctrine. So it only actually does anything for 2 turns out of the game. That's weird. Or it's, yeah, you can select the Tactical Doctrine. Huh. Okay. I don't know if that's that useful, but maybe it is. Maybe that's better than I give it credit for. You just get permanent fallback and charge and shoot. But like only when you're not in the Assault Doctrine, I don't know. Bolter Discipline, you get critical hits on a 5+ in Devastator Doctrine and sustained hits 1. So you'd get sustained hits on a 5+. But it is for the bearer's unit only. I think that that seems really good, like on that Boltstorm Aggressor squad that you stick the lethal hits guys into. I guess any of the lethal hits guys. There's a bunch of ways to get lethal hits in this faction, I think. And so putting this on that unit gives you lethal hits on a 5 plus sustained hits, so you just get an automatic wound plus whatever your normal damage is. That's pretty good. It stacks with your selected one. Does it? No, it doesn't. The Adept of the Codex ability? It's instead of selecting a combat doctrine for your army. So if you've chosen a combat doctrine for any of the other models in the unit, in the army, then you don't get it. Yeah, that's a very strange upgrade. I don't know. All right, and then we have a bunch of captains. These guys we saw already. They get a once per game +3 attacks, and you get devastating wounds. That's pretty good. Especially with Power Fist. You get up to 8 attacks with Power Fist. It's pretty okay. I do think, yeah, getting to strength 6 or strength 7 in melee is probably going to be the cutoff. As long as you can wound every vehicle profile on a 5, and then you're like feeling okay about it. But with devastating wounds, I guess he's not that worried about it. He can go into all of the basic squads. He cannot go into a Blade Guard veteran squad unless he's equipped with a relic shield, and cannot be attached to a Hellblaster squad unless he has a plasma pistol. Get out of here. So this is something that, after looking through like the Tyranid book and then also looking through the Space Marine one, I have a gripe about this, and I might do a video on this. I think the leader ability, and I mean, yeah, you could probably see this coming a mile away. Because Games Workshop is so gun shy about broken combos, like ever since 7th edition or whatever. They're just like, oh no, if you make anything too powerful, everyone will be mad at us and they'll call us names or whatever. But the leader ability is like such a wildly mad missed opportunity. The fact that your the units you can attach to is so incredibly restrictive removes like any interesting combination. Basically, like they've created a certain number of interactions for each of these characters, and then they've said like, that's it, you're done. You can't do anything else. So there's like, you can't attach Primaris captains to Centurion squads or whatever, because that would be too powerful. Don't do that. So there's no exploration in the faction, it feels like. And it's even worse for the Tyranid ones. At least these Primaris guys can jump into all of the Primaris units. If you look at the Tyranid leaders, all of them have like one unit they can join. So they're, and it's the same, like we've already seen a bunch of different units. We've seen, all of the Imperial Guard ones, all of the Craft World ones. The Craft World ones are like, you join Guardians or you do nothing. And it's a little frustrating. I like combo play, and it feels like this is not the addition of combo play. You're going to have like units that are best in slot for one of these, like a character that's best in slot for one of these units, and they're just going to be attached all the time, and then that's it. There's no like interesting optionality. You have this pregame selection you could do, or like, oh man, in the determined battle formation step, I can attach the character to a different unit, but you'll never do it because the character's basically just like slotted into the unit anyway. It's like, it's so shallow that it's really kind of lame. Anyway, keep moving on. The Gravis Captain. This guy seems sweet. Half characteristic of the damage characteristic of the attack. He's only 6 wounds, I guess. They used to be 7, right? But half damage, and you can put him to a 2-up save with a 5-up damage ignore. So he's like basically, outside of 1 damage attacks, he's basically 12 wounds. But like actually closer to 18 because of the damage ignore. This guy seems nutso. Hard to kill. Super duper tough. He can join all of the aggressors. Fair enough. Makes sense, I guess. What are his weapon options, by the way? He can have a Boltstorm Gauntlet, which is a pistol now. AP1 baked in. Heyo! That's sick. Mastercrafted Heavy Bolt Rifle. Is 2 shots up to 30. Strength 5 AP1, 2 damage. It's solid. Or a 6 attack power weapon, 5 attack fist. Or Relic Blade with extra attacks? Really? What are his options here? He always... Oh, he has a Mastercrafted Heavy Bolt Rifle and a Mastercrafted Power Weapon. He gets replaced with a Boltstorm Gauntlet, Power Fist, and Relic Chainsword. Whoa! So he has... if you equip him with the Boltstorm Gauntlet, he doesn't get the 2 damage gun, but he still shoots 3 times, which is okay. But he attacks, like, potentially 8 times. Okay. Okay, Gravis Captain. Calm down, my guy. He can have two Power Fists? What? Chat, 2 Power Fists. He gets 6 Power Fist attacks. That's sick, actually. All right. I'm kind of in on this, dude. So he's... I guess that's... He doesn't have the +3 attacks thing, but he's base +1 attack basically all the time, not once per game. So he punches a little bit less hard, but he's basically impossible to kill if you stick in the Artificer armor on him. That seems real good. Who's doing full Gravis armies? I mean, full Gravis armies are pretty cool. Gravis is kind of sweet. And you know what I appreciate? Gravis is a really good profile to get killed by bone swords. So play more Gravis. You know, that's all I'm saying. Captain in Phobos armor gets redeploys for Phobos scouts or scout snipers. But specifically the squads, not scout units. So it probably doesn't affect land speeder storms, I would guess. He's not that interesting otherwise. He's precision, strength 4, AP2, 2 damage, but like, okay. He lost his Omni Scrambler. Whatever. Alright, well, sorry, Phobos. Captain, we're not that interested in you. I guess there's no other access to redeploys, so I guess you're gonna take Phobos units anyway, so I guess getting the redeploys for the Phobos units is fine. And maybe this guy's just like a backline objective holder. I hope these characters are not super expensive. If this dude's like 120 points, you're never going to play him. But if he's like 60, you're going to be like, it's a 60-point investment to make my like infiltrators slightly better. That's like probably okay. The Terminator Captain, we've seen this guy before. Just a big, tough dude. So you can get to 7 wounds with the and then like Artificer Armor that, but it doesn't mesh quite as well because you also don't get the benefit of the +1 save like you would with the Gravis Captain. The Standard Captain, El Capitan. He also has Finest Hours. So again, they're reusing a lot of these abilities. They're just everybody gets Rites of Battle, and then I guess the normal foot guys are a little bit better at fighting. The Jump Pack guys give you +1 strength on the charge, which is kind of cute. Also, I just want to like call out real quick. I think this art is rad. This is very cool. I like that art style. But put less actual pictures of the models on the page next time, GW. Just show us more cool art of Repulsor Executioners doing cool stuff. Get a Grav Pistol. Grav Pistols are anti-vehicle 2+. Holy shit. Are Grav Cannons like that? Jeebus. I guess they're only AP1. Anti-vehicle 2. That's insanity. Why is it anti-vehicle, though? I don't know. I guess it makes sense. But you'd think it would be like anti-vehicle, anti-monster, right? Because anything that's big and heavy would be affected by Grav. It's weird that vehicles get... I guess you get tank shock, right? Like, vehicles get tank shock, but everything's anti-vehicle. So it's okay. It's not like being a psyker where it just makes you worse. +1 strength to models in the unit. So if you have Power Fists or Thunderhammers, they go to strength 9. That's a really important cutoff. You also get Lightning Claws to strength 6. That's pretty good. Bike Captains give all of your guns Assault, which again is very important. But I don't know if it's as important for bikers. I think it is. I don't remember the mission cards off the top of my head, but I believe that the mission cards do allow you to perform actions with basically anything. It's no longer just like only infantry all the time now. So that's pretty solid. If you just have this guy in a unit of 3 bikes and they're just running around the table like doing actions all over the place, seems pretty solid. And then the lieutenants. So the lieutenants grant you lethal hits, and you can shoot and declare a charge in which the turn in which you fall back. The tactical doctrine is like feeling less and less important. You have a relic that just gives you a tactical doctrine. You have lieutenants that just give you tactical doctrine. Why do we even have a tactical doctrine? If you could just get it from every character, it's like, well, it's a little bit funky. They have the ability to be attached alongside a captain or chapter master, so they can join Blade Guard veteran squads, but they're not required to have a specific loadout to do so. What's up with that? What's up with that, chat? What are their weapon options? They start with... It's a little bit weird that the unit composition is on the right, but the work gear options are on the left. It kind of feels like these... I guess they do it because of this dividing line. They already had this natural division in the page, but these needed to be swapped, I think, because you read from left to right, so you miss the unit composition when you go to look at the war gear options. It's a little bit of a weird formatting. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's okay. You can't get them all perfect the first time around, honestly. Maybe 11th edition they'll have the same layout, but it'll be slightly improved, you know. That's the nice thing about 40k being basically a living game system. Oh yeah, what does the bike captain join? It does join Outriders. Not attack bike squads, though, interestingly. I guess that would be probably pretty good. Yeah, I mean, sometimes the intention is that you just, like, build a... what's the word? Like a Primaris version of the character, and they just play them as the thing. Because like these guys are the firstborn guys, like they're just called X character. They're no longer like there's no longer like special keywords for them and stuff. So building them out of a Primaris body and just telling your opponent which one they're representing kind of makes sense. It does matter for base size. I think the firstborn bikes you have to put on the dumb pill bases, but the Outriders you put on the big huge base. But you just put them on a smaller base. It's not that big of a deal. All right. So the other thing I was saying is that it's weird that the Primaris Lieutenant can join Blade Guard veteran squads, but doesn't have the war gear requirements that the captain does. Like, it's kind of inconsistent. But they have a bolt, pistol, and a close combat weapon. They can replace everything with the Indomitus build. They can just replace their bolt pistol with a heavy bolt pistol. You just do that, right? Like, I guess maybe there's points associated with it. If there's points associated with giving your bolt pistol an extra AP, get out of town. Just give them a heavy bolt pistol profile anyway and save yourself the trouble. His close combat weapon can be replaced with a mastercrafted power weapon or a power fist. Okay. So you can basically take whatever build you want. You could have 2 mastercrafted power weapons, but that doesn't do anything. So they don't have any extra attack weapons, so you'd never do that. The mastercrafted bullet rifle is pretty cool, but that basically means that that cool Space Wolves lieutenant, the #1 lieutenant in the lieutenant tier list with the bolt carbine and the axe, now everybody can get that guy because you just keep the bolt rifle, the mastercrafted bolt rifle, and you take a power weapon too. But now I guess you could give him a power fist, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, I like that. Nice. Lieutenant builds seem pretty solid. Reaver lieutenants. Their pistol and precision. 2 damage with their AP0 ranged weapon. Let's go. And then 6 attacks in melee with precision. They have the same number of attacks as the Primaris, the Phobos captain. Which is funky. They can join only Reavers. Not Hounds of Mordecai, though. What's up with that? Are Hounds of Mordecai like Reaver keyworded? Probably not. Get wrecked, Hounds of Mordecai. I guess. And then they grant lethal hits. Your Terror Troops ability is increased. Let's talk about Reavers real quick. I guess we can just search. Doop, doop, doop. I guess it's Reaver Squad is the name. If we just look Reaver, we'll get all the keywords. Oh my god, so many options to join. So Terror Troops is -1 leadership within 6. Okay. Well, that's not that exciting. Oh, but they force a battle shock checks when you charge someone. Oh, at the start of the fight phase. So it just happens constantly. It's just a constant pulse for every fight phase. That's sick. Their bolt carbines still suck, though. I guess they're precision range weapons, but... Wah. The grapnel launcher, they can move over stuff. Grab sheets, they can deep strike. Yeah, I don't know. 6-inch scout, yay. It's exciting. Nah. I guess, like, forcing battle shock is cool. But, like, the problem is that, you're committing to melee. They don't do any damage, right? Unless you're, like, a real crappy character. And you're committing this unit to melee and then, like, going for a coin flip that they actually steal an objective by battle shocking you. It's, like, weird that they don't have... Like, what they should do, I feel, is reuse that AdMech ability where they, you can reduce people's OC values. Like, the Skitarii Vanguard reduces OC values when you're next to them. Reaver squads should be, like... When you charge someone, like when you're engaging someone or within 3 inches or something, -1 OC and you take a leadership, and if you fail, you're like OC 0 or something. It's weird that they're like, well, if you pass your battle shock check, we're just going to stab you a little bit. Boop, boop, boop. take 1 damage unless we like use our +1 to wound, +1 AP thing, and then maybe you take 3 damage. And then the other team just kills you. And you're like, great, cool. Glad I took this like strength 4 AP 0 squad. Good stuff. Reaver's the only thing that can go over buildings without spending movement. Hell yeah! Let's go! Are any of the named characters an epic hero? We haven't gotten to any named characters yet, chat. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Lieutenant in Phobos armor. I love this guy. I hope he's good. In your shooting phase after the model's unit hits shot, it can make a normal move of D6 inches. Oh my god, he battle focuses. Let's go, Lieutenant in Phobos armor. Alright, this guy's rocks. You just staple this dude to a... Oh, he can't go to Eliminators. No! Oh, but chat. He doesn't have to... He's not restricted from charging afterwards, so he actually increases your melee threat range. This dude's actually, like, goated in Reaver squads. If you're an Assault Doctrine... Can they take Carbine? Or is the Carbine an assault weapon? Oh my god. Oh, it's loading all these pages. So many pages. No! They don't have any assault weapons. What the fuck? That's so sad. If they could have it, if we could find an assault weapon for them, they could advance, shoot, and in combat, and in assault doctrine, they could advance, shoot, move D6 charge. So they could go 6 plus 2d6 plus a 2d6 charge. So they go 6 plus 4d6. So their average charge range would be 20. But I think this is why they restricted the characters you could fit in these units. They very carefully didn't give them any assault weapons. Lame. I love this guy though. This guy's sick. Even honestly, like, you don't even take him with a unit a lot of times. He just jumps around and shoots his cool 2 damage bolt carbine and holds objectives and stuff. He seems fine. Standard lieutenant is just a Primaris lieutenant with extra steps. And then we're in the librarians. The librarians seem kind of nutso, to be honest. It's good that we don't have a Gravis librarian, I guess, because they give a 4+ invulnerable save to your whole unit and a 4+ field no pain against psychic attacks. Like, okay. Get absolutely wrecked like Grey Knights. You get charged by an Interceptor squad, and they're like pinging off you half the time, and then you shrug their damage half the time also. So they're like basically 1 damage weapons now. And they're like, no, I can't do anything to you. At least you don't give them hazardous like the Thousand Suns do. Leader models are not required to join a unit, chat. That's why, like, Leviathan included a bunch of leaders that can't join any of the units in the kit. But you just, in the battle formation step, you just choose which units you want your leaders to join. Yeah, there was Gravis would be insane. But I guess, like, to their point, right? Like, they could create a Gravis one that is not like doesn't just sort of supercharge the defensive abilities of the unit, so it's probably fine. I'm just gonna pull up the leader keyword here for a sec. Yeah, so it's in the battle formation step, for each leader in your army, if you include a bodyguard unit, you can select a bodyguard unit to attach to. So you can certainly leave the characters alone. And I think, honestly, that's like the, because while the Primaris characters that can slot in between units is like pretty cool, and that's probably honestly going to be like one of the defining characteristics of Space Marines is that your characters can go into a bunch of different units. I think that's one of the interesting things about the mechanic, because there's going to be games where you're like, well, my opponent's like has like hyper anti-character, like everything's anti-character 2 or something. So I'm just going to leave the characters out of the units, and they're going to be my backline objective holders this game. You lose, like, they fight late in the late game in melee or whatever, and you lose, like, their special ability. But it's not, like, the unit isn't gutted. So you have the option to just have the characters do their own thing, and I think that's really cool. If your opponent doesn't have really good indirect fire, characters can just, like, wander around the back of the table. And as long as you don't give your opponent, like, a shot with a las cannon or something, like, they'll just be fine. Just holding on to objectives and doing actions and stuff. Can you only attach one type of lieutenant to a unit? Yes. Yeah, the lieutenants can only attach in conjunction with a captain or chapter master. So you can't stick 2 lieutenants into a unit, unfortunately. That would be super cool. If you could, like, make a huge, like, 10-man Reaver squad that's, like, super big and has both Reaver lieutenants in it. Or you put the Librarian in there. That would be cool, too. A Librarian in Phobos armor. You get a Psychic Hood, and this is kind of a nutso ability. He can join an Eliminator squad, which I kind of like, because he gives you Lone Operative for the whole unit. So, I don't know what they're like. They have this obsession with making your like, sniper units Lone Operatives. But they're just like, you can't target me within outside 12 inches, and I'm stealthy. Get absolutely wrecked, which is kind of cute. It's also, like, pretty good maybe just on your forward deployers too, because then you could do the thing. It's just like the lictors we talked about yesterday. You could do the thing where you're like, well, my unit's, like, screening out my flank or whatever, but if you don't have any super fast guns, or, like, you're not going to charge them, they just are uninteractable. They just hold an objective permanently. So the Phobos Lieutenant actually seems great. Too bad you can't put the Phobos Lieutenant with the Phobos, or the Phobos Librarian, excuse me. You can't put it with the Phobos Lieutenant, because then you could, like, have Lone Operative and move farther away after you shoot. It'd be kind of sweet. All right, moving on. Terminator Librarian. We say this guy, he gives you sustained 1. It's kind of okay, I guess. He seems like he's, like, the kind of the least exciting of the Terminators, honestly, or of the Librarians. I guess it's because he can go into a Terminator squad, which already has a 4+ invuln, so you're not trying to, like, bend over backwards to get the 4+ invuln on the unit. A little funky. There's, like, a different filter on the piece of artwork here. There's, like, a slightly different highlight. It's very weird between the front and back of the card. Not that it's really noticeable, honestly. This guy also just gives a 4+ invulnerable save. Yeah, they really just handed out the 4+ invuln save abilities. Now the Primaris Lieutenant, what is he attached to? Does he go into Hellblasters and stuff? Oh, Infernus, Hellblasters, Desolators? A 4+ invuln save Infernus squad does seem, like, kind of problematic. They're just running up the table. You can't get us. Get wrecked. Anyway. Primaris Chaplain. Whoa! +1 to wound in melee. Now we're talking, while he's leading a unit. And then once per battle, at the start of any phase, you can select one Adeptus to start his unit that is battle shocked, and within 12 inches that is no longer battle shocked. Interesting timing. The start of any phase. So he does not, if you fail a battle shock check in your command phase, he doesn't let you then what's the word? He doesn't let you score the objective. You don't ignore the failed battle shock check. You are battle shocked, then you become unbattle shocked. So you battle shock at the battle shock step of the command phase. You lose your scoring on an objective at the end of the command phase. Then start of movement, you can unbattle shock them. Wow, that's wild. That's cool that they thought about that, though. He doesn't just, like, make your objectives impossible to steal. +1 to wound in melee is not so. Terminator Chaplain. +1 to wound. And he gives you a 4+ field up against mortal wounds. He just has a psychic. Oh, it's mortal wounds. It's not a psychic attacks. I have to. That's the 9th edition mindset talking that you you just equate those two things. I guess that is specifically good in Terminators, and +1 to wound in melee is also specifically good on Terminators. So that seems pretty okay. Crazy Arcanum's still not a very good melee weapon, but it's fine, I guess. The Bike Chaplain. Each time the model's unit is selected to shoot, you can select one enemy within 12 invisible to the Chaplain, not the unit. Weird. Until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in this model's unit have devastating wounds when targeting that enemy. But only shooting phase. Do you get devastating wounds your bolt rifles? Okay. I guess, like, well, let's check out bike squads. Because they might have, like, really good special weapon equipment. Oh my god, there's so many bike squads! There it is. Up to 2 Space Marine bikers can have their bolt pistol replaced with one of the following: flamers, grav guns, melty guns, plasma pistols. Okay, so you can equip. Do we have to actually look at the stupid Astartes Armory card? No, we have to flip to another card. So you can devastating wounds, like maybe grav guns or something. Yeah, devastating wounds grav guns is great, right? Because they auto convert on vehicles. And then you could also take an attack bike. So you attach him to like 3 bikers with like a bunch of special weapons and an attack biker, and you can give them devastating wounds. That's something, I guess. Armory. There it is. Oh, where did it go? No. Nope. Come back. Armory. Oh my god. Kato Sicarius. I'm Kato Sicarius. Alright. The grav gun is not here. Why? Why are we like this? Okay. It's a 2-shot, 18-inch range, strength 5, AP 2 damage. With anti-vehicle 2. So on a 2+, you do 2 mortal wounds against a vehicle within 12 inches. With the Primaris Chaplain attached to attack bike squad. That's rad. That's really cool, right, chat? Yeah, so it's 4 mortals. Plus, you can take a grav pistol on the unit leader, and you're already within 12. So you could do 6 mortals because grav pistols are AP2 or 2 damage, right? This is like the little anti-vehicle, like Hadra over here. Is it just called? Okay, yeah, 2 damage. So if you hit with all of your attacks, oh, they're 2 shots each though. So you get yeah, I don't know where the grav gun is, chat. You get 4 or 5 grav shots, so you could do 10 mortals plus your all your bolters. And you shoot with, what is the weapon on the biker? God, this is frustrating. This is too many cards already. So it is a twin-linked bolt rifle. This bike chaplain's like winning me over slowly but surely. It's a twin-linked bolt rifle. It's also, he's a chaplain on a bike. He's not a Primaris chaplain on a bike. So he's 5 wounds instead of 7. That's wild. So he So the rifles are twin linked, so you get twice as many opportunities to score a critical. So you're just rolling for criticals. It's very good if your opponent has vehicles. It is a little bit obnoxious that it is anti-vehicle specifically. Yeah, so we're 10 mortals plus whatever an attack bike does. Plus you get 4 times 2 bolter shots. So you're which is like basically 16 attempts to get mortals. So you're probably on a good day you're in for like 13 or 14 mortals, but you probably miss with a couple grab shots. So realistically it's like 8 to 10 probably. That's like really, really cool. All right. Well, way to go, Chaplain on bike. You seem rad. I bet that squad's not even that expensive either. I bet that attack bike squad is like 100 points and this dude is like 80 or something. I bet it's like a little 200 point module that just like vaporizes a vehicle if it wants to. That's pretty sweet. The standard Chaplain has the battle shock thing. Cool. Jump pack Chaplain does D3 mortal wounds on the charge. Okay. Each time this model's unit is selected to fight. Oh, it's every time it's selected to fight. Selects one enemy unit within engagement range. On a 4+, it takes D3 mortals. On the 6, it takes 3. Cool. Is their leadership value at least amazing? If their leadership value actually isn't better than a normal Space Marine. Oh, wait, hold up. The Jump Pack Chaplain's leadership value is worse? Wait a minute. We need that, the little kid, like, wait a minute, who are you? You pull off the skull helmet, it's just a Primaris lieutenant in there. Hold up. You have a worse leadership value? What is this? Absolutely nutso. Why are there so many keywords on datasheets that don't do anything? It's future-proofing for detachments, for sure. 100%. There's going to be some, like, stupid, like, the Blood Angels detachment will get an interaction with jump pack units, and, like, you know, they'll have detachments that will specialize in different unit types that you get, like, a stratagem you can use on them or something. The jump pack is for running away. Okay. Be more afraid if your jump pack detonated. So back in the day, little bit of a blast from the past. We got all this Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 stuff going on. They used to have an upgrade that if you played Assault Marine, when you died, your jump pack would blow up, and it did like actually nutso damage. Basically, if you got killed in melee, and I think if you did like any damage back to the person at all, you would just simul with them because they would kill you, and then your jump pack would explode. And I'm not afraid to say that I got probably more kills with that ability than I did actually attacking people with my chainsword. All right. Techmarine. The Teach Marine is going to teach us how to use vehicles. While within 3 inches of a vehicle, he gets Lone Operative. Love it. In your command phase, you can select an astartes vehicle, regains up to D3 lost wounds. And until your next command phase, it gets +1 to hit. It's not 2 separate abilities. It heals and gives +1. I actually like that. It was kind of weird that you did 2. If a friendly Adeptus Astartes vehicle model is destroyed within 12 inches until the end of the battle, its power axis and attacks characteristic of 7. He gets angry. He gets mad when you kill his vehicles. He's like, no, my baby. I painted that one up special. I mean, this is going to be the tank. This is the tank, the time of the tank, right, chat? You're going to be playing repulsors and stuff, and you just go get them. This guy seems great. He's only 4 wounds, though. These characters are squishier, I'm noticing. They're much squishier than they were. Not that Gravis guy. That Gravis guy's impossible to kill. He'll never die. The Forge Bolter's the same. The Grab Pistol's the same. Nice. The standard Techmarine has exactly the same abilities. He can have all of the cool special stuff. So this guy, he's only 3 wounds, I guess, but he gets all the special guns. It's also a smaller base, which is pretty relevant for somebody who wants to fit between vehicles. I wonder how, like, the vehicles being able to move through things and vice versa. I wonder if that's going to be super relevant with this new these characters who are going to be like sandwiched next to them. Because you want the characters to be like up in front of the vehicle, so when the vehicle moves, it moves over them, and then they don't like lose their aura, or they don't lose range in their ability. That is command phase, right? Yeah, in your command phase within 3. So you really have to stick close. Seems like snipers will be super important. Yeah, maybe for these Space Marine characters. There's like a prevalence of 4 wound characters. So that's pretty solid. Oh, the Tech Marines can join servitor units? How does that work? I guess he himself gains lone operative. He leaders into servitors and tacticals. Does this guy leader into anything? Oh, he does. But lone operative, I imagine, doesn't say the unit can't be targeted, right? That would be weird. Oh yeah, it says unless you're attached to a unit. So lone operative doesn't. It turns off as soon as you go into a unit. But if your unit dies, then he becomes untargetable if he's next to a vehicle. So that's kind of sweet. I like the optionality. They're base 4+ ballistic skill, but they go down to a 3 if you have a Techmarine. I wonder if there'll be an actually cheap way to get heavy weapons into your army. Just a bunch of multi-meltas, like for cheapsies if you have a Techmarine in there. That'd be cool. Well, we finally moved past the character selection. Before we move on to the epic heroes, I guess. Intercessor squads are objective secured. Oh, they called it objective secured too. I can't believe it. That's insane. They should have called it that on everyone's data sheet. I don't like that they called it some different things on everyone's data sheet. So they just have the sticky objective control. But they call it objective secured. You should have core keyworded that. You put it in every faction, you dummies. Absolutely wild. Their grenade launchers can shoot crack grenades, which is awesome. They have the new like sweet strength 9 crack grenade profile. And otherwise, they're normal guys that do normal guy things. Bolt rifles are both assault and heavy. 2 shots at the 24. It's okay, I guess. Inferno Squad, we know about. They are flamers and they force battle shock on you. Assault Intercessors. Get the reroll ability on objectives. Reroll 1 all the time. Rerolls on full rerolls on objectives. And it also works on their ranged attacks, right? Oh no, it is melee for them. Sometimes it's melee and sometimes it's ranged. That ability is always slightly different. Whoever has it, which is a little bit funky. That is pretty good with them. And I think that the fact that you can advance and charge now, like on a whim, makes Assault Intercessors pretty sweet. Apparently there's a librarian in here, so just kidding. We were We weren't out of characters. Get +1 AP in melee with the jump back librarian. That's actually a pretty good benefit. Not as good as +1 to wound from the chaplain, but better than the +1 strength from the captain, I think. And then lieutenants with combi weapons, whatever. The heavy intercessor squads, they have unyielding when face of the foe built in. So that was their stratagem from 9th edition. That was +1 save against 1 damage. And their heavy bolt rifle is now just a standard profile. So it's just like a regular bolt rifle, but it's strength 5 out to 30 instead of strength 4 out to 24. All right. Now, these regular troopers aren't that interesting. Infiltrators have the Omni Scrambler still. The Helix Gauntlet just gives them a 6-up damage ignore instead of they ignore save like they had previously. And they have the Comms Ray effect. That's sweet. The Incursor squads. Oh my god. So the Incursor squads have the Exocrine role, but an Incursor squad is a 5-model support unit, and an Exocrine is a big fucking monster. Why would they give this to an Exocrine? That makes me mad. Now I'm upset. Games Workshop, you've upset me. And they have assault weapons. What the fuck? They have sustained 1 in combat, and I assume you can... There's no way you can't equip the Phobos Lieutenant to these guys, right? So we did find him an assault weapon. Where's that guy? Yeah, Incursor Squad. So we found his assault weapon, chat. We can threat 20 inches with stupid Incursors, I guess. Why do they give reroll 1s? I'm so mad. What the fuck? That's a really good ability. Once per battle at the start of the phase, you can select an unit within 3 inches of the bearer and deal mortal wounds. 2d3 mortal wounds on vehicles with their Haywire Mine. Oh, I guess, yeah, this actually... I did miss that, chat. They give +1 to hit. So they actually... They're better than an Exocrine. This is stupid Space Marine privilege. Are you kidding me? That's ludicrous. It's like they have a pregame move with assault weapons and give +1 to hit on units that they shoot at. What a nutso unit. Are you serious? Okay. Tactical squads can fall back and shoot and charge. Why do you have like 700 ways to access this ability? It's so weird. I guess basically, like, you just expect the entire army to be able to fall back, shoot, and charge. They're just Eldar now. Every Space Marine can act normally when they fall back. Every single one. They're always able to do the thing. Scouts. At the end of the opponent's turn, if the unit is more than 6 inches away from enemy models, you can put it into strategic reserve. So it just reserves in on your next turn. That's great. At least they can't really do that offensively. They have 2 wounds now. Heyo. That's sweet. They get assault weapons with their shotguns. But I think this is just a pretty useful unit. Also, they have Infiltrator plus Scout. Whoa. Hold up. None of the Phobos guys do that. Get wrecked, Infiltrators and Incursors. Try being as good at forward operating as a bunch of dudes in t-shirts. So they can, to my knowledge, you can use both of those. I don't think there's anything that prevents you from doing both. So you can just you infiltrate up in the deployment step, and then start of the first battle round you move. You can't move within 9 inches of enemy models. Yeah. But you can... You, like, basically get yourself a little tiny redeploy. They can't set 9 inches away and move 6 inches closer. But what they can do is, like, prevent an enemy unit from setting up 9 inches and then move in out of line of sight or something. Which is pretty sweet. I also... there's no restriction on deployment zone for the Scout's ability. So infiltrators you can deploy 9 inches away from the enemy deployment zone, but then you can Scout move up closer to it. So it's actually pretty relevant for like the melee Scout unit. Or just like going and doing actions and stuff. If they have shotguns, their ability to do actions in your deployment zone is really, really strong. There's no way that Scout squads aren't like an auto 3 in every list. Yeah. So Scout Snipers. They have load operative too. What the fuck? Okay. What? They just have that built in? They have stealth and infiltrators, so they drop. They don't have scouts, but they have a sweet gun. The Scout Sniper Rifle is heavy, so it's just the same as the Rattling one, right? Strength 4, AP 2, 2 damage. Goes to hitting on 2s if they're stationary. And they can be stationary a lot because you can't shoot them. Dude, these forward operators are insane. Is this just like the addition of forward operators? Random company champion. What can he can't attach in with a unit, which is wild. You add 1 to advance and charge rolls made for the unit, and you can target it with heroic intervention for 0. Okay. And you can reroll the hit and wound against character units, and he has precision. So he's like a good little duelist guy. 5 attack, strength 5, APT 2 damage. He'll probably kill most characters. But the question is whether you want that for like you give up the ability to like he doesn't benefit the unit that much. He just gets him into melee faster. So I guess the question is whether or not you want him in there over like a chaplain that's actually giving you buffs. There's no way Death Marks won't get lone operative? Chat. If it's not a Space Marine, it probably doesn't have as good rules as the Space Marines do. Primaris Apothecary. Here he is. While he's leading a unit, he can return destroyed models to the unit. And you gain a CP on a 2+ when his bodyguard is destroyed. Okay. He's like, you know what I want you to do? Just kill all my friends. Just murder them. Murder them real good. So he also can join in addition to a captain, chapter master, or lieutenant. If one of the above units. So he can't join in addition to a captain, chapter master, or lieutenant. He can join with one. And then the Apothecary Biologus also has that. But he doesn't join with lieutenants, only captains. I guess because he gives the same ability, right? He gives the lethal hits. But this guy with like a Gravis captain's himself is like sweet in a big Bolt Storm Aggressor unit. The Enchant. Putting those balls in tubes, chat, for sure. He's just packing tennis balls in there. Biases and Isfire reading through the Marine Index. You feel kind of bad showing up with Marines. I mean, you have to see the rest of the factions. They definitely seem better than Tyranids, for sure. The Tyranid Index, compared to this one, is like big nothing. There's nothing going on in that index. This has everything. Just like that Incursor, the Incursor versus Exocrine comparison is sending me so hard. I'm like, that makes me mad. Like, there's actual synergy in this faction, and the Tyranid one was just like, I don't know. Hopefully your monsters can get there, but they won't. The Ancient gives you +1 OC, because that's what banners do now. You can also join in with a Captain, Chapter Master, or Lieutenant. I guess they didn't want you to, like, accidentally double up on sustained hits with this guy. Wider than 6 inches, or within range of objective marker and 6 inches of the center of the battlefield, this model has the Feel No Pain 4+. Not the unit, the model. Would have been kind of nice if that affected the unit with like a 5 or a 6 up. Like, I guess it's okay. But I don't know. +1 OC is very good for sure. Blade Guard Ancient has +1 OC. Once per battle, he can give +1 to the dex characteristic of melee models equipped by the model's unit. And he gets +1 attack on his close combat weapon. Let's go! Bonk. +1 hit. The Terminator guy gives you +1 to hit and +1 to wound if you are lost any models. And you have a 6 wound characteristic and take a Storm Shield. He actually gets weapon options, though. The Blade Guard Ancient guy gets wrecked. This one seems pretty good. Yeah, they're just like, they're designing the standard Ancient, and they're just watching like the original Dawn of War like release trailer over and over, where the guy like runs to the top of the hill with the little flag. They just have that on repeat, and they're like, what should he do? How do we capture the essence of the OG Dawn of War release trailer from like 2003? That like 20-year-old game or whatever. The Blade Guard Ancient squad just has the Tyranid Warrior ability. You reroll hits of 1 or saving throws of 1. They only have a 3+ save though, so they actually got way easier to kill. I guess theoretically the Storm Shield's supposed to give them +1 like wound, right? It's the new effect, but then and also the 4+ invulnerable. So they could reroll saving throws, which is very good, but they are going to be much easier to kill without that 2+ save, especially given the fact that the edition is kind of toxic to 3+ armor saves. That is one thing to keep in mind with all these power armor dudes. I'm worried mostly about the 2+ save guys, but the 3+ save guys don't really get affected by cover, which is kind of weird. A command squad. So do they not have any ability to attach extra characters? I guess they are the characters, right? So it has an Apothecary Company Champion and Company Ancient. And you can attach like a captain to it. Yeah. Okay. And then the company veterans can get cool special weapons. I guess that is a good way to get like a critical mass of cool characters. Although this company champion like sucks compared to the chapter champion profile. It's like 4 attacks hitting on 3s instead of 5 attacks hitting on 2s. Weird. It's kind of meh, honestly. It is a little buff. The Apothecary can't target anyone in the squad? Why wouldn't you be able to target anyone in the squad, chat? You just return non-characters to the unit, and none of them are characters. So he can return anyone that isn't, like, the captain that you slot in there. I don't know if this is, like... It's such an interesting unit archetype. It's like a mixed arms unit that isn't high volume, so, like, if you're attaching a character to it, you're not really getting the full benefit from the character, so... Don't know if it's, like, really that exciting. Vanguard veterans don't get a portrait? What? But there is a Vanguard veteran unit. Vanguard assaults. Do they not have jump packs? Hold up, chat. Wait a minute. What is this unit? Is this like Stern Guard veterans, but they have what's the word? But they're just melee guys instead. When they end a charge move, they get lethal hits. Okay. And they're just like a strength 5 AP 1 melee attack. I guess they get storm shields. Suit doesn't seem that great. Any number of models can have their bolt pistol replaced with a storm shield. I mean, okay. And they have a 6-inch scout move. What a weird profile. Oh, is there a separate one? Oh, there is a separate one with jump packs. Okay, that's bizarre. That's super. All right, well, it is what it is. I guess. So you trade the 6-inch scout for a 12-inch move, which is just like mostly better. I guess this is the one that Gabriel Seth joins, right? Because he can join the standard Vanguard veteran squad. All right. So, well, he can give them advance and charge. It's pretty good, I guess. Weird. I don't know about that. Stern Guard veterans we've seen from Leviathan. The Judiciar. So he's got the new implementation of fight last, which is just that his unit fights first. Each time he destroys a character model, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of his executioner blade. His sword is sick. This guy's unironically sweet at fighting. Can he join with another character? He cannot. You just dump him into a Blade Guard veteran squad, right? He's a 4+ invulnerable save against melee attacks. He makes the unit fight first. They bodyguard for him, and they have a 4+ invulnerable save against ranged attacks anyway. And then you're just like unchargeable, basically. Or they're just difficult to engage into. I mean, that seems pretty good. This one seems good. Can Gabriel Seth not join Death Company? I don't remember, chat, honestly. I could look it up, and maybe I will. The one that I thought was funny was that he could join Vanguard veterans. And I guess, I mean, in 9th edition, I'd never seen a Vanguard veteran squad that wasn't equipped with jump packs. He cannot join Death Company. He can only join Foot Vanguard veterans. So I just assumed that they would be the same profile. And I thought it would be funny that like he can give them advance and charge, and he's like a little slow dude. But it makes sense if so the rest of the units move like 16, and they have to string back to this like foot idiot who's wandering around. But it makes sense if the entire unit is a what's the word? A foot unit. Seems all right. Could give scout move to a transport though. I mean, I guess so. That seems all right. Maybe Vanguard veterans are lost their weapon options because they're getting a new kit. I could see it. I also wonder if you're just meant to like run assault intercessors as the stand-in. It is weird that they would have this profile because there's never been a Vanguard veteran on foot model, has there? Does the Vanguard veteran squad kit make non-jump pack guys? And they just like didn't have any printed? No. It's all jump packs. Yeah, what is this data sheet? Why did they make this unit? I guess they were like, we need a veteran veteran assault intercessor unit, so we made this like weird Vanguard veteran. I don't know. That one's bizarre. The Judiciar seems great though. We were just talking about him. I love that guy. We talked about Reavers already. Aggressors! Let's go! So these are where I think things start getting nutty, I imagine. They're twin linked with their auto Bulletstorm gauntlets. Oh, they don't have AP value on them. I guess it's because the captain one is special, right? So
what do you think of this combo? Company Champion, Judiciar Chaplain plus a Lieutenant for Tactical Doctrine, and 6 Blade Guard Veterans?
Do you get the company? I think the problem is that the company champion doesn't join alongside anything, right? Yeah. So you can't combo the company champion with anything, because as soon as he is attached to a unit, you can't put anything else in the unit. So you're just like, rip. You need to have the clause like the apothecaries do. You need to have this section of text in order to have multiple units join a single unit. That's like kind of the benefit of having the like the command squad, because they get all of these like mini benefits. They get the mini characters, and then you can also put your cool captain in there. But like I said before, right? Like that's what I was talking about at the top. Like there's no combo play really in this whole like in the whole edition basically, because you're so restricted on your characters joining units. So I do think like captain plus lieutenant in the Stern Guard unit is great. But the fact that you can't put like captain plus Judiciar or like captain plus company champion means that you're super duper restricted on the things you can do and like the cool interesting combos you can make. I guess they were like, oh, you're adding to units, like they're just like so gun shy about Death Stars or whatever that you're there's not much else you can do. Thanks for the super chat though, I appreciate it. Met one of the 3 characters plus a lieutenant. So the lieutenant can only join if it's with a captain. So you can't add any of those other characters with a lieutenant. Is the issue? Because if we go to the lieutenant profile, it says that it can join alongside a captain or chapter master. Where is lieutenant? Oh, it's so far up. It was so long ago. Yeah, so you can attach it to one of the above units, even if one captain or chapter master has already been attached. So if you've attached anything else to the unit, the lieutenant doesn't also go in. The lieutenant isn't a free roll on your attachment. It only goes with a captain. All right, let's see. Where were we at? We were we were making fun of Vanguard veterans. We talked about how sweet the Judiciar is. Oh yeah, we're on Aggressor squads. I'm excited for these guys. So their Flamestorm gauntlets are also twin linked. D6 plus 1 shots. And every time they make a ranged attack, the target is the closest eligible target, they get plus 1 AP. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. They're also twin linked in melee. Holy shit. Okay. Okay. I see what's up. Aggressor squads are great. Oh my god. Look at these guys. Hot diggity damn. Downside here, the Boltstorm gauntlets are twin linked and the Fragstorm grenade launchers blast, so you can no longer roll in them all together and just attack 10 times with the strength 4 AP1 weapon. Now you have to roll them all separately. So they're actually I guess it's less dice, right? Because you're just getting re-rolling Boltstorm gauntlets instead of doubling the attacks. Whoa. Twin linked power fists. So you can... What joins these guys? The Apothecary Biologus does, right? Yeah, Aggressor Squad plus Captain. So you can put the Captain plus the Biologus to give them lethal hits. I kind of want to give them Devastating Wounds. Because they have so many rerolls, but I don't know what does that. There's no well, I guess we can just look for every instance of Devastating Wounds. The captains give themselves Devastating Wounds. Thunderhammers, but we're gonna find every Thunderhammer profile. I don't think any of the characters give them, right? Just the catechism, which we already talked about being sweet. Yeah. No. Big sad. It's just Gravis Captain Apothecary Biologus. That's too bad. An Ironfather Fieros? Is it Fieros? Oh. Is he in this fucking thing? Oh, there's two R's. Damn it. That's what got me. He can join all of the Gravis units. That's cool. He also has the lone operative to vehicles thing. And he gives the entire unit a feel no pain 5+. I mean, that's good. For sure. But it's an entirely defensive buff, not an offensive buff. I don't know. I guess like putting him in instead of two characters, but you want him next to vehicles anyway. I don't know if you want to attach him to like your big combat unit that's going to be running around the table, like advancing and shooting people. I guess I'm less jazzed about that. All right, where are we at? Aggressor squads. So which one? What are we on, chat? Boltstorm with the Apothecary for sustain, or are we on for lethal hits? Excuse me, or are we on Flamestorm gauntlets? The twin linked Flamestorm seems nutso because you're torrent, right? So you can just like double tap the big whoosh. That seems pretty sweet. I haven't got to Torgaradon. We'll get to Torgaradon in a sec. We'll get to all the special characters. I do appreciate that there's still differentiation between all the special characters. Look at these derpy old Terminators in the Terminator Assault Squad. These guys are looking at like the shooty Terminator unit and just feeling so sad. Aw, you guys got all the new fancy toys. That fancy updated Primaris Terminator armor. Look at us. They force battle shocks on people that they charge. That's unironically really good. And then they can take Storm Shields to go to 4 wounds. Solid. Love it. Print it. You can put Terminator Chaplains in there for +1 to wounded melee too. Or you could just be an aggressor and get twin length melee weapons. I don't know. The Terminator squad we've already seen. Relic Terminators. So they also have Fury of the First, but they don't have the teleport helmet, which I guess makes sense. They're still just normally deep strike though. They have combi bolters. They have heavy flamers. Plasma blasters are just a 2-shot plasma gun. Reaper autocannon is the one that we saw from Chaos Space Marine, so that's the same. The grenade harness just gives them the grenade keyword. Boring. Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting from this unit, but it was like something a little bit more specialized. They're probably just going to be a cheaper shooty Terminator squad, honestly. Which I guess is fine. If you don't need the rapid ingress, then you're just like, I guess we take the old Cataphracti out of the closet, dust them off. Don't worry, guys. You're like an ancient and revered set of piece of technology, but you're cheaper to field than the more advanced one. So let's go. Centurymans. Ooh, also twin linked in melee. These guys are all twin linked. What the fuck? Just rerolling wounds. This is the unit that you point at every time they're, somebody's like, well, 10th edition has less rerolls, and you just like show them the Devastator Centurion datasheet. You're like, does it? Is there less rerolls, my guy? Because take a look at this friggin' thing. They get plus sustained hits 2 against monsters, vehicles, fortifications. God damn it, dude. This unit fucking rocks. Holy shit. So they're... I also love this bleed over. There's no way this is intentional, right? It's big, long, dumb siege drill. So I guess they're only 3 attacks apiece, right? But that weapon melee, the weapon profile is so good in melee. Sustained hits 2 is like, it's like plus 1.5 to hit, right? But you can, it's kind of weird because they twin link in melee, so you don't really want to hit whatever has the O's a moment on it, but you kind of want to trigger sustain 2. So you kind of want to fish for hit rerolls against it because you're just going to vaporize whatever you touch. And then, yeah, all their guns are sweet. I guess it's low volume because it's only one variety, but all twin linked is solid. Centurion Devastator. Oh, excuse me. Ooh. They got a pretty good melee profile now. Strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage. Only weapon skill 4. The siege drills are weapon skill 3, right? Yeah. Easier to use a drill than to punch people with your gun, I guess. They no longer have Hurricane Bolters. They have a special profile, Centurion Bolters. It's interesting. Their missile launcher is sweet. It's like just a crack grenade with a 36-inch range and blast. Okay. And then they get hit rerolls against enemies on objectives. So basically, they just have the Lehman Russ ability. It's just a unit of Lehman Russes. Wow. Okay. But they're all twins again, so everything's twin linked. These guys seem also great. This is definitely a points thing. I think these units are super high damage, and you can put them in Land Raiders and stuff, right? So like their ability to deliver them's pretty solid. But it depends on how many points they are for sure. Did you punch with your fist without destroying the heavy bolter? You just it's like an up and down. You just hammer them, and then all you have to do is replace the magazine at the end. It's fine. Invictor Tactical Warsuit. We saw these guys had Scout on the website earlier, which is kind of exciting. Once per turn, your opponent's shooting phase in a friendly Phobos infantry unit within 6 is selected as the target of an attack. It can shoot back. Whoa! All right, that's pretty good. It has again like nothing but twin linked weapons. Iron Hail Heavy Stubber, Iron Hail Autocannon. Yeah, the strength 9, AP 1, 3 damage. I guess low AP kind of wrecks this thing. It's good in melee. 5 attacks, AP 2, 3 damage, strength 14. But the everything just being like kind of crappy AP on the ranged attack means it actually doesn't do that much damage. Way more worried about like the twin linked las cannons than I am the twin linked Iron Hail Autocannon. The standard Dreadnought. Interesting. Wait, they have a data sheet for the standard Dreadnought. I guess you're supposed to use your Venerables for it, because I don't think the Venerable Dreadnought's in here, right? Weird. I guess all the box Dreadnoughts are just one thing. It's an Ironclad, right? Oh, yeah, here he is. So you're just regular Dreadnought and Ironclad? They got rid of the Venerable profile? It kind of makes sense. Oh, yeah. Was it 3+ weapon skill? I don't know. He gives reroll hit rolls of 1 to infantry units within 6. That's actually really interesting. So they're just like they're like an 8th edition character. They're T9 2+ saves, so they're actually kind of tight. They're a little tanky. No damage ignore, only 8 wounds. But a 2+ save is really just like the way to go. I have a sneaking suspicion that like you're kind of 2+ save or bust in this edition. Especially for vehicles, because like everything is in cover like all the time. I think for the most part, you're gonna be able to source cover really easily. You can take a twin linked las cannon. So that's the difference between these guys and the ballistas, right? Is the ballistas has a 2-shot las cannon, and these ones are a twin linked las cannon. Ballistas is here, right? Yeah. Huh. Huh. That's weird. I guess that does differentiate the big las cannon versus the little las cannon. Having 2 shots is it's like a side grade from being twin linked, but it is better. It's for the most part like it's higher potential damage for sure. I do like the assault cannon profiles though. Devastating wounds plus Oza moment feels really, really good. I like these guys. Little reroll aura. That's solid. Even in death I serve, says Contemptor Dreadnought. First time he's destroyed on a 2+, set him back up as close as possible. With D6 wounds remaining, they respawn? What? What the fuck? Curious Assault Cannon, Strength 7, AP 1, Devastating Wounds? Okay. Sick. Or they have a multi-melta. No wonder the Contemptor Dreadnoughts have stuck around since the Horus Heresy, right? They just keep respawning. They just keep rolling a 2+. They won't die. This thing looks awesome. The 2-shot synergizes more with Oath. Yeah, you're not wrong. I think maybe you take like a smattering so that you can have the twin link stuff to Oath if you are not shooting at your Oath target. But yeah, for the most part, you're just going to pick whatever you're Oath on. Ironclad Dreadnought. So the Hurricane Bolter is rapid fire 6 twin linked. Holy shit. So they did nerf the Centurion Bolter quite a bit. Because it's only shooting up to 6 shots twin linked, but the Hurricane Bolter shoots 12 full rerolls. That's pretty good. Did it lose its harpoon? They had a harpoon, right? Now it's just a hunter killer missile. Sad. The Seismic Hammer, D6 plus 2 damage, AP 3. Okay. Only 3 attacks, though. These guys are toughness 10, though, so that's a big breakpoint. They're a little tougher. And they get +1 to hit and +1 to wound against vehicles or fortifications. A lot of anti-vehicle tech. There's a little bit of anti-monster. You got those like Assault Centurions anti-monster in here. But tons of anti-vehicle tech. Also, can we talk about these smoke mortars? I don't know if I've ever noticed this on the model before. But I feel like that's going to cause some problems, right? Just shoots directly into the harpoon launchers. Whoopsies. The harpoon is on the Blood Angels thing? Did they not have a harpoon on Ironclads at one point? The Blood Angels one has a different one. But if I remember correctly, Ironclads always had like a weird harpoon effect. Maybe I'm absolutely insane. Maybe they had assault launchers. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. What is that on the model? I think maybe it was when they came out. They had like a special harpoon. That was in like 5th edition, though. That was ages and ages ago. Oh, it's these things. That's not the harpoon. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. And then these are these the hunter killer pods on top? Is that what those are? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Yeah, the smoke launchers just ricochet back. He's like, padoing. Padoing. Flawlessly designed. Belisarius Call himself could not have created a better platform for the delivery of the Emperor's holy concealment grenades. Redemptor Dreadnought. Oh, so these guys are Duty Eternal. But they got the Duty Eternal back. Okay. Holy shit. Are Brutalis Dreadnoughts different? Do they have a special thing? Oh, they do mortal wounds on the charge. They do kind of a lot of mortal wounds. On a 4+, they do 3. On a 6, they do D3 plus 3. That is pretty good, but this is the one that you would want to have Duty Eternal, I think. The one that's running at your opponent actively. The 2+ save duty sitting in the back and shooting is a little bit less easy to kill, but it is what it is. I think that I have a sneaking suspicion that the Dakka Dreadnoughts are going to be sweet. The Macroplasma Incinerator seems good with the overcharged variety. Especially because they have less of a chance of overheating, and if you have a bunch of CP left, which it kind of feels like you will in Space Marines. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it feels like you have enough free stratagems that you can kind of keep them around. You can heal the damage really easily, or you can CP it to not take hazardous damage if it would damage you. Icarus rocket launchers are anti-fly 2+. Okay. But I think I like the big Dakka. You can get 20 shots with devastating wounds, full rerolling with Oza Moment, and it's just like kind of the Oza Moment machine. Just trying to convert to mortals on people seems solid. Peaches of the Troya. They had grapnel launchers? That's what I thought. That's what I thought when they released in 5th edition. I wonder if we could... Now I'm like... I don't know. Now I'm intensely curious. I don't know. Maybe not. I wonder if there's like a weird old lore entry that has that like backs me up. Can they just write D6 mortal wounds in the charge instead of writing the wacky damage brackets? I mean, I guess D6 is, I don't know. I think like this limits the amount, right? Because then you it's less of a chance you do 4 to 5, right? You can only possibly do 4+ if you roll a 6. So this gives you a lesser, like a more compressed range of mortals. It is spikier though. You could probably just do D6 and it's like largely the same. It also means that like you average 2 on a 2+. Yeah, so it's like the math is relatively similar. It spikes harder on a 6, but you can't but your 4+ bracket isn't quite as spiky. Assault Squad's down here. Hanging out with the vehicles, I see. Assault Squad. So Assault Squad and Jump Pack Assault Squad are different. Chainsword Doctrines. Each time you're selected to fight, you get sustained hits 1, lethal hits, or lance on all your Astartes Chainswords, which are AP1 still. 4 attacks apiece. That's pretty cool. Especially because you can like put a chaplain in there and get +1 to wound. So you can stack that with sustain probably is pretty solid. And you can also get +1 AP, right? You see, you have multiple ways to get like a lance effect. And then you can stack any of your other benefits with the other effects. That's actually a cool ability. I like that. Way to go, Assault Squad. But that's only the foot one. The jump guys do 1 mortal wound on a 4+. How is that less exciting? Okay. Up to 2 assault marines can have their bolt pistols replaced with flamers and stuff. You can take a hand flamer on the assault sergeant. All right. Double flamer unit's okay. Is there a way to get assault weapons in here? Probably not. Yeah. Just do Devastator Doctrine, I guess. The Assault Squad get separate weapons, but not Vanguard veterans? Yeah, a little weird. Their weapons are also, like, unironically kind of better, right? Because their chainsword has the same number of attacks as a Vanguard veteran. It's just one strength lower. That startled me.
Is the Redemptor Flamer any good for salamanders?
The Redemptor Flamer, like the heavy flamer. I mean, it's fine, but with the traditionally, you always take the Gatling on Redemptors because on the underslung weapon for the melee weapon, because the range that they operate at is better for the 24-inch guns than it is the 12-inch gun. The Brutalis Dreadnought wants to get up close and personal, so it has more opportunities to use close-in weapons like that, but it can't take flamers. It only takes Melta. So you usually build in the Onslaught Gatling Cannon. I also think, yeah, it's just like a better profile, to be honest. I think this isn't the unit that you're going to be like overwatching a bunch with. That's you're going to do that on like Aggressors or Infernus squads. So I think you want to pack your flamer units with flamers rather than like have random flamers in places, like odd places. As good as flamers are, I think they're only good when you use them deliberately. And the Redemptor Dreadnought's going to almost always get more use out of the Onslaught Gatling Cannon. Devastating Wounds is like such a good ability if you can source full rerolls, which they can. All right, we were looking at the Vanguard veterans, right? So they have, same number of attacks, same AP weapon skill and AP value, one strength higher. They get lethal hits, but they can't use any of the other abilities. So, like, it does seem like Assad squads are just almost strictly better than Vanguard veterans for sure. At least the foot variety. They don't have scout, I guess, is the difference. It is weird. The bike squad we already looked at. Attack bikes have 5 wounds now. Oh, regular bikes, 3 wounds up to 5. 5 wounds is a lot. Because they were 4 previously, right? In 9th edition? The Outrider squad has 4. It can add an Invader ATV, which has 8. Hey, they actually have a variable unit size now. 3 to 6 instead of just 3. Let's go, Outriders! That's cool. So actually adding a Chaplain to the unit's pretty solid too, right? They lost their extra attacks in the charge, though. That's sad. That would have been really, really good with the Chaplain attached. I wonder if there's like... If you're playing like a White Scars theme, you can probably equip a couple bike Chaplain attached units into your army, and they're all going to be pretty okay. I guess especially since he grants devastating wounds to an invader, right? Which has an Onslaught Gatling Cannon. I guess that already has devastating wounds, so you're not really getting that much effect out of it. But it adds another high volume weapon you can get the benefit from. The ATBs themselves, once per turn in your opponent's shooting phase in a friendly mounted unit within 6 is selected as target of attack, you can shoot them. That's kind of sick. But the invaders are single model units. Weird. Okay. So we don't have the units of 3 anymore. But they're kind of like the Invictor. They're the Invictor of the mounted unit, the mounted army. It's interesting. It feels like they're constructing like archetypes where you have like the Invictor supports Phobos stuff, the Invader supports mounted stuff, and you can like build into these different directions, which is kind of cool. You can have like a contingent, like a mounted contingent that all supports each other. I like that. This Invader ATV and the Outrider squad does not have that ability, though. But these guys are unironically really good at advancing shooting, though, or advancing charging, because they move 18 under Assault Doctrine, and then charge, and they're OC 2, so they're very good at objective grabbing. I bet 5 Outriders and a Chaplain's actually a solid unit, or 6 Outriders and a Chaplain. Scout by Squad gets a 9-inch scout move. When it arrives from Strategic Reserve, it can set up in your opponent's deployment zone. Sick. They can go anywhere. Do they still have the wild ability to take 100 bolters on their Scout Sergeant? So they're equipped with a shotgun and twin bolt gun. So they have an assault weapon built in. Yeah, these guys are still going to be really good at clearing infantry. Because they shoot, I guess it's only 4 times now, because it's twin bolt gun, not like a storm bolter. But it's 4 times and half of them are twin linked. And they can advance and shoot with the shotgun at least, which also means they're good at actions. And I guess you can't take a Stormbolter. Oh, you can take a Stormbolter on this guy. So he gets another 4 shots potentially on his Strength 4 profile. Or you can take... I guess you can't take special weapons. Any number of models can have a Astartes grenade launcher. So instead of the twin bolt gun, you can have the crack grenade launcher. Well, that's maybe better, actually. Instead of 2 twin link strength 4s, you get 1 strength 9. Or a blast attack. Yeah, that might be better. These guys seem really useful. If they're cheap and you can build them as a utility unit, they seem amazing. Shame the Invader still looks like an 80s toy. Yeah, they're not awesome, for sure. It's not the greatest unit ever made. The Attack by Squad. Oh, also has the support ability. They can shoot after you get shot. How many can you take? Is it singletons? 1 to 3. So their support ability is even better, too.
Looking at the ATV and the Orc Speed Freaks game, I think GW should put out a 40k kart racing game. Raveners throwing banana peels at Vulcan tanks.
Thank you for the super chat, HM Girl Potpourri. Yeah, that would be sweet. You could put Death Killer War Trikes, Attack Bikes. There's 1 character is an Eldar Viper and Invader ATVs. And it's just every 2 model vehicle. There's a Star Weaver maybe. 2 model vehicles in 40k. So these guys, this seems like a way better support unit. Interestingly, this doesn't say another mounted unit within 6. It's just a mounted unit within 6. So they can fire back after you shoot them as well, which you'll for sure do. That's kind of nutso, actually. These things are really tough to engage with. I guess it's at least their multi-meltas are only 18-inch range, so you can outrange them with a lot of stuff, but that does seem actually unironically pretty good. Especially once they get up in there and you basically now have to charge them, because otherwise they don't even care about you. They would almost be really good if they could mount heavy flamers, honestly. Suppressor squads, they have the suppression fire effect, so they give -1 to hit like wyverns do, but they're not indirect, so it's less good. And their autocannons are kind of bad. Yikes. Yeah, these guys don't seem that great, to be fair. Only strength 8 on the autocannon, not strength 9, and 4+ ballistic scale heavy. Yeesh. Ugh. Lame. Inceptor, excuse me. When they set up using deep strike, they can go 3 inches horizontally away from enemy units, but can't charge. That's very good for this unit. Holy crap. So they're like realistically unscreenable, which means they can hit like annoying. They can like scalpel units out because they're mostly shooting. All their weapons are twin linked as well. Either 2 shots, and they overcharge up to 3 damage in the Plasma Exterminator. Oh my god. Not to mention the fact that like high volume plasma shots are less dangerous than they were previously. But they're just like handheld plasma cannons now. Whoa! The assault bolters are 3 shots, sustain 2. I don't know if I love that quite as much. But you can start to like build the combo out, right? Where like you drop the Inceptors down, an Incursor squad like runs around the corner, shoots the enemy, and the Inceptors like overcharge plasma into it, hit on 2s, wound on, even if they wound on 5s re-rolling, they're still AP3 for 3 damage, so they probably like kill a tank or something. These guys seem incredible. Nobody can join them, right? I can't imagine. No. Nope. That would be wild. Yeah, this unit seems great. You don't even need to be shooting at whatever you have Oaths of Moment. It's kind of weird that those are like they have Oaths of Moment because a lot of their weapons are like constructed to reroll anyway. You basically just assume that you're going to reroll your wound roll if you're attacking with this faction. Anything that's not twin linked will shoot the Oaths of Moment target, and anything that is will shoot something else. They're pistols as well because they're like literal pistols. Look at that thing. It even has like a little gun shield on it, so you like use it as a melee weapon. They are 3-inch deep strike, chat, yeah. Plus just a 10-inch base move as well. And they're assault weapons, so they can advance and shoot. Oh my god, this unit. Holy crap. Inceptors, chat. Absolutely nuts. These seem great. And then we're on to vehicles. Let's go! Big vehicles. T9 on the Storm Speeders. They do have deep strike, like we talked about in the video earlier. 11 wounds with a 3+ save. The Hail Strike, you get +1 AP against whatever they shoot. And they have a twin-linked heavy stubber, and it is 1 or more attacks. So you can like split off the heavy stubber or the Gatling cannon onto something and get you +1 AP, and then use the other stuff somewhere else. Their offensive profile is not that great though. The +1 AP is nice though. I kind of like that. You could just like ping somebody with the stubber because you just have to hit, right? Yeah. And then shoot the Gatling cannon on like your oath target, and then buffs everybody against the other thing. You get +1 to wound against monsters or vehicles if you shoot them with a Thunder Strike. That's really good. That's really, really, really good. I like these support abilities on these guys. Man, this design is so cool. Where is this in the Tyranid Codex? What the fuck? The comparison between these factions is very depressing, chat. It's super duper strong. Holy crap. So if you shoot somebody with an Inceptor squad and a Thunderstrike squad, and then you deep strike that Inceptor, or the Incursor squad, excuse me, and the Thunderstrike, and then you drop the Inceptors on them, then they hit on 2s, wound on 4s, re-rolling. Whoa! Not even Oaths of Moment, and you're like super duper good. Super duper high chance to kill them. Are these things still 2+ ballistic skill? They are also. They maintain their 2+ ballistic skill. Absolutely nuts. And then the Hammer Strike is ignores cover. Also good. Yeah, all of these are super strong. I guess the +1 AP one is like, I mean, it's a really good effect right now. That's better than ignoring cover though, like significantly. So you would just take the Hail Strike, but I guess the Hail Strike does less damage, so it is what it is. The Melt attack is pretty sweet. Melted Destroyer, still only strength 9 though. Get wrecked. I think the +1 to wound guy is the best though, for sure. The Storm Speeder Thunderstrike looks incredible. That's super duper crazy. Standard land speeder. This just has the Lord of Virulence's ability. You get +1 to hit with blast weapons and ignore cover. Sorry, Death Guard players. Your cool, expensive character just gets superseded by a move 14 deep striking, like 60-point vehicle. Get wrecked. Landspeeder Tornado does a little bombing run, moves over people, excluding monsters and vehicles, and like clips them for a couple mortal wounds. Usually 3, I guess. 6 dice on a 4+, so 3 mortal wounds. That's cool, I guess. What do they mount again? They can take an assault cannon and a heavy bolter. I want double assault cannon, please. That would be sweet. Typhoon gets a battle focus move, but their battle focus is less good because they can't go over stuff with it because that's not how flying works anymore. So I think I'm less excited about these guys doing a shoot and scoot than the other. I guess they could like peek around a corner and shoot and then peek back, which is pretty good. Interestingly, they're all single model units now. It doesn't look like you can take squadrons of them. So we are significantly... The number of land speeders it's possible to take is significantly reduced. You can still take up to 9 because you can have 3 of each, but you can't multiply them. How do Invader ATVs have 2 more wounds than land speeders? Because it's like chunkier and it's a ground vehicle, right? Like if you shoot a land speeder like here, then it just falls out of the sky, right? Because that's like the anti-grav plates. So if you shoot a land speeder in the most common place for it to get shot, it just dies. The Hellblaster squad. So they're a single profile for the plasma gun. They don't have the 3 profiles anymore that you have to decide between. And each time a model is destroyed, roll 1d6 on a 3+, do not remove from play. The destroyed model can shoot after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks. This ability is triggered when a hazardous model unit is destroyed as the result of failing a hazardous test. So I guess that's interesting design because they kind of reward you for having an entire unit of hazardous guys. It was always kind of a problem before that you took this very expensive, like high volume unit that would just kill itself over the course of the game because their plasma weapons would explode. But if they get a benefit for their plasma weapons exploding, that's actually kind of sweet. And they like automatically overcharge when they die too, which is kind of cool. I like this unit. This unit rocks. I like Hellblasters. You can also you could just reroll with impunity because you don't really care so much or I guess you don't care about your hit rolls. But you just overcharge with impunity basically because you don't really care if you die so much. Honestly, I mean the different weapon profiles is, it is what it is. Losing out like the three separate weapons is like, if you like the minutia of it, it's sad, but I think it artificially restricted the usefulness of the unit because suddenly they had to make these differentiated profiles where it was like either 1 good shot or 3 little shots, but you would just never take any of them because none of them were like good in a wide variety of situations. So just having the one like good jack of all trades profile is always going to be better. Now, do they all have... All of the models in the unit can have their Pulse pistol replaced with a plasma pistol? I wonder if that costs you anything. Is that free? Could we also just overcharge ourselves in melee too? Adorable. Can you attach an apothecary to Hellblasters? I believe you can, but that's worth double checking. If you can, I mean, you probably do, right? Hellblasters, let's go. They blow up and shoot twice, and then you get one back. And then even if the unit blows itself up, you get a CP. That I love that, actually. That's super cute. I like the idea of the apothecary, like, they don't even want to be there, but every time a Hellblaster squad is deployed, these guys like, okay, I gotta follow these like brain dead idiots who keep shooting themselves with their own guns. We'll recover the gene seed when they die. Absolutely insane. Eliminator squads. Interesting thing about the Eliminator squad. What is the unit size? Oh, just 3. Can't take 6. That's only for Outriders. Eliminator squads. I think that was the coolest thing about Death Watch is your Eliminator squads could be bigger, but it was always kind of weird that you were artificially restricted, but it would be kind of broken. Oh, I might sneeze, chat. One sec. Just kidding. I didn't. If your Eliminator squad or Eliminator Sergeant is equipped with an Instigator Bolt Carbine, you can make a normal move after it's shot. It then can't charge. So the same rules they had last edition. If they remain stationary until the start of your next movement phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in the unit have the Devastating Wounds characteristic. Interestingly, it's until the start of your next movement phase. So if you remain stationary and shoot, you get Devastating Wounds, and then you can move. And then when you Overwatch, you get you retain Devastating Wounds, which is a little bit funky. The last Fusel went to D6 damage, Strength 9 AP3. Otherwise, there's Strength 5 AP2. 3 damage on the Bolt Sniper. Fuck. Okay. Huh. With precision. 3 damage on the Instigator Carbine, too. Holy crap. Whoa. Well, that is a character sniping profile right there. They're BS3, but they're heavy, chat. So they hit on 2s and they remain stationary. So they're basically the same as it's literally the same as it was last edition. Previously they were like BS2, but then they would move and get -1. They've just swapped out where they get their bonuses from or penalties. Yeah, the Bolt Carbine could always try to get characters through Lookout Sir. It was just never very good at doing it because it was like AP 1-2 damage. So you just like didn't even bother. But AP 2-3 damage is nuts. Yeah, this unit seems fucking insane. Especially because the Bolt Carbine is just a slightly worse sniper now. It doesn't have heavy, so it only hits on 3s, but it hits on 3s and it's like maybe -1 to wound, but otherwise it's identical. So in order to take the shoot and scoot ability, you don't actually lose that much damage output, which you did previously. Plus, you can attach a Phobos Librarian and make them untargetable from ranged attacks. Seems good. Yeah, these guys look nuts. So you can also do Devastating Wounds on the last Fusils too. Do D6 mortals when you 6 somebody when you critical wound somebody. Oof. Big oof. Eradicators. Full rerolls against monsters' vehicles. Hit, wound, and damage. They just owed some moment against monsters and vehicles. That doesn't even feel that good. Because you're already probably owed some momenting like big monsters and vehicles and stuff. Their Melta rifles are heavy as well. They're ballistic skill 3 heavy. So the multi-Melta gets 2 shots, but the basic Melta rifle hits on 2s if they remain stationary. I guess they probably have to move though. So that kind of makes sense. Their threat range is significantly reduced. And they're like, instead of wounding most of the game on 3s, they're just rerolling. So kind of a side grade ultimately. Plus, all of their guns are only D6 damage instead of D6 plus 2. So they do less damage than it did previously, but getting full rerolls against monsters and vehicles is super sick. Plus, you can attach a lot of the Gravis characters to them, right? So you can give them like lethal hits with the Apothecary. So that's pretty okay. The multi-mount is usually restricted to 1 of 3, yeah. The multi-mount is like the heavy weapon for the squad. You can't take all of them. Devastators. It's interesting Devastators like retain all of their weapons. Bull pistol, bolt gun can be replaced with twin lightning claws. All right, sure. It is a little frustrating that they've like retained these sergeants that are like fully customizable, because like they're for sure gonna get free weapon upgrades, right? Like it's not even gonna be like cost anything. I don't know. Each time the unit remains stationary, they ignore cover. Okay, fine, I guess. Once per battle, after making a hit roll, you can change the roll to an unmodified 6. That is much different than the previous Armorium Cherub, so these guys are going to be less effective. Mostly BS4 with heavy, so they're kind of like hoping they remain stationary. I honestly am like kind of wondering if grav cannons are super sick. They are only 24-inch range now. But anti-vehicle 2 for 3 damage is really, really good. But the problem is that if you hit anything that isn't a vehicle, you just get wrecked. It's like an okay profile against Terminators, I guess. But if they're in cover and you couldn't remain stationary, you just don't do anything to them. It feels a little bit like it's the Las Cannon show, honestly. Maybe missile launchers? I don't know. The sergeant just does cool poses. He's like constantly showing them off. He's like, guys, look at my Wolverine claws. They're like, boss, we know. You show them every battle. The kitted Devastator sergeants are always funny because you always like engage a Devastator squad and you're like, oh, they're not going to hit us very hard because they don't have any melee weapons, so they're just punching. And then the dude unsheaths his lightning claws and just like goes to town on you. It's always a little surprising when the Devastator Sergeant whips out his like sick melee weapon. You just get destroyed. Grav cannons were always 24 range? No, they were 30 inches in 9th edition. Desolation squads get the same effect. Oh, they ignore indirect fire penalty. Awesome. That's cool. Why even write that rule? No. No. Nobody gets the detriment. Their indirect fire, strength 4. So a little bit worse than they were. Actually, significantly worse because there's no AP value associated with them at all. Unless you shoot them with a hail strike. Let's go. Or you are in Devastator Doctrine. You use the Devastator Doctrine stratagem, I guess. The Venger launchers, strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage. Hits on a 2. They just baked in the targeting optics. They're like, fine, I don't know. You're always hitting a 2 anyway. Just take it. And then the big rocket launcher is a 4 plus BS, but they have heavy, so they go down to a 3. Only AP2. Strength 10, AP2, D6 plus 1 damage. So it's like a side grade from a las cannon. It's not just strictly better now. These guys did get a not insignificant nerf. They are going to be really strong for sure. Just like blowing up like units of dudes. You can imagine like a 10 model like idiot infantry squad. 5 Desolators just kills them for free because they fire 4d3 plus 8 shots plus the Venger launcher, which is d6 plus 2, ignoring cover. That's pretty scary. Acting like nids don't compare is crazy. All right, man. Whatever you say, my guy. The Thunderfire cannon. is Strength 5, AP 0, 1 damage, blast. Doesn't ignore all of the stuff, though, so get wrecked. But it does have the -2 to move and advance and charge moves, like Earthshaker Carriage batteries do. So you could see like a 0 to 1 Thunderfire Cannon just to like slow down infantry squads. That seems okay. Yeah, you almost always took the crack missiles on the Desolation squads before anyway. Because they definitely didn't need the... Or sometimes you were like 0 to 1 on frag, and then your other 2 units took crack, but they were already good at killing infantry because they had blast attacks. So you almost never took the frag weapons. I mean, this faction's going to be great at killing infantry anyway. It feels like at the top end of the spectrum, the like survivability of the game has increased significantly, but at the bottom end, like your light infantry and stuff is going to be it is like basically as easy to kill as it ever was. You get cover more often, and the AP values are a little bit lower, so you're like maybe 10 or 15% harder to kill, but I think like light infantry will still get swept pretty easily by random attacks. If blast fires into a unit of 20, is each guy D3 plus 4? Yes, that is how it works. That's what's up. Hey, the Firestrike servo turrets. Overwatch on a 4, that's cute. Can they take 3 in a unit still? Only 2 in a unit. That's a little bit weird. A unit of 2 always feels a little strange to me. Like 3 is just like such a nice, I don't know why 3 feels like such a nice number, but I guess it's so they actually chain. 2 always feels a little bit strange. All their weapons are twin linked. Either a twin link autocannon or a twin linked las cannon that shoots 36 inches. Whoa, okay. Well, if the price is right, the 4+ Overwatch is really good with a twin linked weapon. So you're forced to hit and then automatically rerolling your wound roll with a laser beam. I like that. At least it gives them like more of a lease on life than they did have in 9th edition, where they were like they just at least on release they were really bad. When they got to like be 70 points and get a free upgrade to their last cannons, it was good. But when they were like 120 points apiece, it was ludicrous. If you're worried about blast, you're incentivized to play 9-man marine units. Yeah, it is a little bit weird how that works. I'm almost surprised that they didn't like mandate unit sizes now. It was a rumor that they would, but all of the unit sizes in the datasheets have been a range. Like you're between 5 and 10 models. You're not 5 or 10 models. It's kind of weird that they don't just like mandate that. But there's going to be random units that are like, oh, I'm a 4 model unit for, because that's how many come in the kit, that are actually going to be much better because they don't get destroyed by that first blast attack. The Hunter is 3+ anti-fly. It is a tougher time wounding flyers than an Icarus rocket pod does. But it's devastating wounds. So it just does D6 plus 2 against flyers. Man, poor flyers. Am I right? What did they ever do to deserve this treatment? At least it's the equivalent of a single D cannon shot. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting it's not anti-aircraft. I guess aircraft, you can just hover mode and then none of their anti-air works against you. So anti-fly makes more sense. But I don't know how many, like, what the meta will develop around fly. It definitely, especially compared to like 8th and 9th, where fly was basically required for you to play a vehicle. Now it feels less so. This guy only AP 1/2 damage. You're probably not even taking that much. This dude gets 2+ to hit on monsters and vehicles, which is okay. But it's like a single las cannon attack basically. The Stalker can Overwatch. Up to 3 times? Whoa. Each time you target the this model with the overhead stratagem, you can select up to 3 additional enemy units that fly. But an unmodified 6 is required to hit. Would an unmodified 6 be required anyway? It doesn't ignore the Overwatch hit penalty. After a unit with fly ends a normal move, it ends or fall back. Interestingly, it's only after. It's not before. Oh, starts or ends. Just kidding. I missed that sentence. When resolving the stratagem, in addition to shooting that enemy, you can select up to 3 other enemies. Yeah. I guess that's pretty good, but that seems very, very narrow use case. I guess that is kind of the issue with the Hunter and Stalker chassis. They wrecked how battle suits. I guess they passed the battle suit test. Everybody, we did it. But like, you still own the AP1, right? So most of the time, people are saving on like 2s or 3s, which is like, eh. I don't know if it's, you know, even forcing 6 3-up saves on somebody isn't that exciting. They're gonna kill 1 battle suit, and then that's gonna be it for you. If that, right? They could have like a bunch of a blade of wounds on shield drones, so they could have dudes who are like 5 or 6 wounds, depending on how many shield drones they can equip. We'll have to see all the Tau data sheets. I don't know if wreck is the right word for them. The Whirlwind with a Vengeance launcher. Oh, its missile launcher is just 1 profile now. Well, that's good. Forces battle shock against infantry. D6 plus 3 shots, strength 8, AP2, 2 damage. That's a solid profile. Anti-infantry, but we got indirect fire that doesn't ignore the penalty, so at least you'll be in cover and -1 to be hit. So they're hitting. It's not heavy, also, so they're hitting on 4s. Yeah, this seems fine. It's toughness 10. It's pretty good. The Hunter's immortal on 3s? Yeah, I guess, yeah, the Hunter specifically. The Stalker less so. It's like a 2 into a 3. Yeah, that's pretty good. For D6 plus 2 mortals, so you probably get 5 mortals. Honestly, I guess, yeah, it is higher damage output than, or higher expected damage, especially because you can, like, CP reroll the 1 wound roll to guarantee you get the 3+ to do mortals. Yeah, alright. I'll buy that. Predator Destructor gets +1 AP against infantry, so they go to the AP2? Ooh, that's pretty good. So you ignore cover, basically. The bear can only shoot the weapon once per battle for the Hunter Killer. Otherwise, they can take double las cannon or heavy bolters. But if you get AP2 heavy bolters, that actually, like, that kind of sends the heavy bolter profile pretty far. I think you take high volume on these guys. The Predator autocannon is just a 4-shot autocannon profile. Okay. Annihilator. Reroll damage rolls of 1. Does that do anything? That's not borked, is it? Because their minimum damage is 2, right? I'm terrified anytime Games Workshop uses the terminology roll, because they've fucked it so many times in the past. Yeah, I guess it's just the dice facing, right? Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really cover it. I think it's fine. Clearly the intention is that you get to reroll your 1, so your minimum is, hopefully your minimum is 3 damage. But that's really good. You could take 4 las cannons on these guys. Or it's 3 las cannons. 1 is twin linked though. Oh, it's twin linked strength 14. Ooh. That's spicy. I like that. I like the special abilities on the Annihilator and Destructor. They definitely synergize with their preferred weapons a little bit better. Aquilon Optics gets a new mechanic. You get to reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, and 1 damage roll. So they just full reroll their big laser beam. Oh, effectively. Yeah, I mean, geez, it's just like this faction, every single model in the faction rerolls everything. It's either all twin linked or it all has built-in rerolls, or it's shooting an Oath of Moment target. Okay, sure. All right. Seems good. 3 las kids doing d6 plus 1. I mean, almost like d6 plus 2, right? Because they reroll a bunch of their results. Yeah, that's pretty solid. The Gladiator Reaper gets sustained hits 2 against infantry. Fuck me, dude. With on its heavy onslaught gatling. Okay, specifically. And that's the same with the Aquilon Optics, right? It only affects the laser destroyer. No, it's everything. What? So if you don't need it on the laser destroyer, you can get it on your Icarus or your Iron Hails. Okay. Sustained hits 2 on the twin onslaught gatling cannon, which is twin linked and devastating wounds. Oh my god, dude. Everything's fucking twin linked. Holy shit. What the fuck? I mean, it's better than shooting 24 times. I'm glad that profile's gone. That would have been way worse for sure. But sustained 2 on infantry and then rerolling wound rolls and then getting devastating wounds. And you have to remember that you're probably +1 to hit, right? Because you have Techmarines. So it's probably hitting on 2s. So it shoots 12 times, it drops 2, and gets 4 back. So it averages 14 hits. And then rerolls everything, like looking for mortals. Seems pretty solid. The Predator autocannon has rapid fire. Oh, did I gloss right over that? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's solid. So it can go to 6 shots? It doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't feel quite as exciting as the Annihilator. Actually, like, this Lancer profile, I'm really, like, kind of digging it. Where you at, Lancer? The Lancer was always the cheapest Gladiator, too. So it's like a T10. It's only a 3+ save, which is a little bit sad, but it's 2 shots at strength 14, AP 4, D6 plus 3 damage, and you basically reroll everything because you get a floating reroll on each step of the phase. So, like, that's just... Oh, it's D6 plus 3 damage also. I think these things just supersede Predators. I don't know. I would be surprised if the Predator ended up being more efficient than this laser destroyer, because it does more damage. It's more consistent. It's just it gets like more rerolls and damage rolls too. It's not just ones. It can reroll anything. This thing is another like devastating wounds, just like fire hose. The Valiant gets +1 to hit against monsters and vehicles and has multi-meltas and last talons. That one's... Valiant is the least interesting, I guess. Its multi-meltas are strength 10, though. Why? Nobody else's multi-meltas are strength 10, right? They're all strength 9? Where's the Devastator squad at? Yeah, their multi-meltas are strength 9. This thing just has a superior multi-melta. What the fuck? Why? Okay, well, and it gets 2 of them, right? 2 multi-meltas in the twin last talon. All right, sure. Whatever you say, boss. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, their multi-meltas are bigger than the other multi-meltas, but I don't know. I don't love that they were like, they don't call that stuff out, right? They don't call it like a Valiant multi-melta or something, or a heavy multi-melta. They just like hope that you notice that it has a higher profile. Vindicator T11 with a 2+. Hot diggity damn, my guy. Woo! When making attacks as demolish a cannon, it can target units in engagement range. When making its attacks, it doesn't suffer hit penalties for hit penalties for being in engagement. Shoots D6 plus 3, strength 14, AP 3, D6 damage. Damn. All right. That's pretty good. That's just like a real tanky profile, though. T11 2+ is really, really good. I like that. We're here for the Land Raider. You can disembark and charge after it moves. We need that because it has an assault ramp. It has 2 las cannons, I assume. Yeah, twin heavy bolter, 2 Godhammer las cannons, and it can equip a multi-melta, I guess. Hunter killers are all free, right? Is what we heard, at least for Imperial Guard. So you probably have the Hunter killers for freezies. And then this is basically the same as the Ballistus las cannon, right? It's just 2 las cannons strapped together, but it's not twin linked, so it fires 4 times. And with Odes of Moment, like that's the good targets for the unit that you have Odes of Moment on. These Land Raider guys. So you can like, you know, probably realistically down like 2 big vehicles or something in a turn because you have so many of your weapons just automatically rerolling everything, and then you can sink Odes of Moment into something. The Crusader has Hurricane Bolters. That is just a fire hose against light infantry. It shoots 24 shots, rerolling wound rolls. Woof. The points will be interesting. I have a sneaking suspicion that the points of this faction are going to be like astronomically high, honestly. Because I think that from a raw datasheet standpoint, like I think statistically these are better than like anything that we've seen in the previews, right? Outside of like you could say like, well, D cannons and like Eldar stuff, but Eldar stuff is all based on detachment rules and special dice fixing and stuff. If you didn't have all that the special abilities, Eldar stuff would actually be way worse. But these profiles are like strictly the best profiles we've seen out of anything. Maybe demons are better. But even that, I'm not sure. But so you'd hope that, like, you cross your fingers that all this stuff is going to be, like, dramatically more expensive than they were in 9th edition. Land Raiders can take Primaris, but not Rhinos? Really? They specifically posted drop pods transporting Primaris stuff. So the Land Raiders can take any infantry models. Which is good. And these guys still take 16. They do, yeah. Gravis takes 2. Centurions take 3. So you can put like the big 8 model Gravis squad in the Land Raider Crusader, and it's actually sweet. I think you start to run into like difficulty disembarking that unit, I imagine, but people put 8 Terminators in there before. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, Odes of Moment for sure is like, looking at it, at face value, you're like, holy crap, what an insane ability. You get full rerolls on whatever you want. That's wild. And then the entire faction rerolls anything anyway. So you're like, okay, just kidding. Seems like whatever. Let's see. Redeemer. This guy I'm a little bit, I'm pretty worried about because he's got 2 Flamestorm cannons, right? Oh yeah, that good double Flamestorm cannon. So they can Overwatch with 2d6 plus 6. Ignore cover, torrent, strength 6, AP 2, 2 damage. Whoosh. That's pretty good. I like that. Having 2 of those weapons. I mean, like I said, right? You want the more Fushy, flamey weapons in your lane and on your overwatching unit, the better. Repulsor gets a heavy onslaught. Emergency combat embarkation. They just have the TOW rule where you can dump into the transport after you get charged. That's pretty cool. What's their transport capacity? 12. So you can put a 6 model Gravis unit in there. Oop. I'm going to sneeze. We're caught in the at least in my area chat, we're caught in the Canada is like entirely on fire right now because the world is burning and we're headed for disastrous dystopia. So actually there's a lot of like airborne particulate, which I think is getting me pretty hard today. I've been real stuffy, which is a little awkward. The less rerolls in this edition isn't a thing. Yeah, for 100%. At least in this faction. I mean, it's like probably the faction like sub theme that they're like, yeah, reroll everything. Just reroll. You're a Space Marine. You know how to use your gun. Reroll it. I imagine that's the case, and that you would hope that they build that into the points cost. But we'll learn next week what their points values are. If they like retain 9th edition points values, this faction is gonna be like ridiculous. But if they get it costed appropriately, I think it'll be cool. It'll be cool for Space Marines to be competent for once and not just like weird horde mode, like 3+8 infantry, which is what they always end up being. They get slowly power crept until you have to make them as cheap as possible, and then you get like 15-point like intercessors running around the table. But now, like, I think, the base infantry is kind of mediocre for sure, but the bigger stuff is definitely, I think, going to pay a premium for. The Repulsor defensive array. Yeah, I guess that is true. So they instead of having like because it was 2 Stormbolters and a twin Icarus and sometimes frag storms, now they just shoot a bunch of strength 4 times, 4 gunshots. Yeah. That's kind of sweet. So these guys don't have Aquiline Optics, despite the original Aquiline Optic unit being the original Aquiline Optic unit. They don't have it anymore. So they are significantly, they have much less redundancy on their laser destroyer. So I actually think as like kind of a premier anti-tank, I actually think that the Lancer is better, which is kind of wild, because the heavy laser destroyer here is high strength 16, so it wins like everything on 3s, and d6 plus 4 instead of d6 plus 3, right? Which is what the Lancer laser destroyer was. But the Lancer laser destroyer basically rerolls everything, so it requires so much less support. Yeah. So you net -2 strength, -1 damage, but you get full rerolls on your laser cannon. And then, like, this thing just has a bunch of extra random gunshots, which, like, don't really matter. The heavy onslaughts do. Because you can take 2 onslaughts on these usually, right? Oh, no, because they don't take the pintle-mounted onslaught. That's the regular repulsor. So unlike the Redemptor Dreadnought, you can't build them as, like, this DACA farm. So I actually am not really sold on the Repulsor Executioner. I like the Gladiator Lancer a lot more. This one gets +1 to hit if you're below half strength, I guess, but whatever. It's something. Yeah, I guess these are like a little bit more well-rounded, chat. Yeah, you're right, because they can also clear hordes pretty well. Talk about the Rhino. Yeah, so it has an exception for Tacticus, which is it's not like Primaris, but it is all of the Primaris keywords are Tacticus, Phobos, and Gravis, right? Because those are the armor types. So it can't transport those guys. That's a little sad. I guess what would Impulsors do if Rhinos could transport them? The Razorback has the fire support, just like the Falcon does. That's sweet. Twin assault cannon, more twin linked. I am unironically glad that some of this stuff is twin linked over having double shots. I do think I wonder if there was a point where a lot of it was like The twin assault cannon was a 12-shot strength 6 devastating wounds, and you would just like plop O's a moment on something, and they would just like fire hose 6 mortals into it. And I wonder if like that decision was made at some point in the process, because I do appreciate that. That is something that I was very worried about, was especially like with Gilliman's ability to double tap O's a moment, you could just pick 2 things, and if all of your army was assault cannons, just like vaporize them one after another. But given that the assault cannons are comparatively lower attack volume than they were in 9th edition, they just have built-in rerolls, which you don't really care about. I guess it's not that big of a deal. This one actually just ends up hitting you for like 2 or 3 mortals and then calling it a day. The Impulsor you can charge out of, plus their firing deck 6. What can you transport? Tacticus or Phobos? So you could put 6 Hellblasters in the back of this thing. And then you could give them +1 to hit from a what's the word? Techmarine? Or you could put Desolators in there too, right? But then they wouldn't get their like ignore hit penalty special ability, because the Impulsor doesn't have that. Comms Array. You give everybody the CP regen aura. It's okay. Shield Dome gives it an invulnerable save. And the Bellicatus can fire crack missiles. Only strength 8, though. The Sky Talon Array is a high volume. Look at that thing. Oof. Sustain 1, 8 shots. Okay. Anti-fly 4. Yeah, I honestly like. So the other cool thing about the Hellblasters too is that they when you fail hazardous checks, they just damage the vehicle, right? Because the vehicle uses their weapons, so they actually don't take damage until they die, until the Impulsor dies, and then they shoot on death. So like, I actually think Hellblasters are the truth with this guy. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Hellblasters is like sweet. Are the Stern Guard veterans Tacticus? That's a good question. Is it Stern Guard or Stern Guard? Stern Guard. Every character can join them. Great, it's probably here. Oh my god, you're the worst. Yay, found them. They are Tacticus. Yep. So they can go in. So you could firing deck the like cool Stern Guard Devastating Wounds guns out too. I guess also Assault Intercessors, right? Oh, it doesn't fly still. None of the grab vehicles fly, is that right? Yeah, they still lost their fly keywords. But moving 12 and then disembarking and charging is pretty good for the fighty dudes. Yeah, the Impulsors seem pretty good. Units cannot charge. Units can charge after disembarking if the transport has not moved. You can't normally disembark. You can't normally charge out of a disembark if the transport moved, unless you have this assault vehicle rule. So Land Raiders and Impulsors can do it. Yeah, I like the Impulsor. Honestly, I like a little Impulsor, like just a little dude to zoom around seems solid. I'm really feeling like the tank brigade, the armored company with the Space Marines. Just a bunch of these big vehicles with Tech Marines getting +1 to hit. It seems solid. Drop pod has the drop pod rule. They actually explode now, which is cute. 10 infantry can't transport Gravis stuff. But yeah, They did they made a big deal about you being able to drop in Primaris with the drop pod now. That would have been weird if they hadn't allowed you to. The Landspeeder Storm is an assault vehicle, but it's called a different role. Of course, thank you. Firing deck 6, which is cute. And can transport Scout, I assume. Yeah. Up to 6 Scouts. Impulsor isn't the same as Land Raider? Oh, it cannot charge. Oh, you're right. Yeah, just kidding, chat. I thought it was the same role. That's weird. Oh, I guess this is Assault Ramp. So Impulsor is move but not charge, and Land Raider is charge but not move. All right. Well, just kidding. I guess we're locked in on shooty guys in the Impulsor. We're not charging with them. No, you can't. You can't normally normal move out of a transport that moves. Basically, either you move or the transport moves, not both. You can't. If you disembark after moving, you usually just stand there. Stormhawk Interceptors. They have hover mode, which is sweet. I actually always thought this model was cool. The gunship, the Storm Talon, I never liked, but the Stormhawk is always kind of sweet. They get +1 to hit against fly. They have a bunch of anti-fly stuff. Their Storm Cannon is 2+ anti-fly. That's better than the other Storm Cannon, which is a 4+, right? Oh no, the other Storm Cannon is also 2+. Just kidding. Skyhammer Missile Launcher is anti-fly 2. And they have a Twin Assault Cannon. Yeah, it's just all stuff that we've seen previously. Basically, if you're not shooting at flying stuff, this isn't that good. But if you are, then it's great. It's also good against aircraft because aircraft aren't always in cover. So it's AP1 is actually kind of effective, whereas otherwise they're kind of saving pretty well. Storm Talon gunship gets +1 against non-fly. I think they did that previously, right? That's just sort of the same, same difference. They get +1 against non-fly, but they still have an anti-fly weapon. Great. Yeah, I don't know. These are kind of whatever. Storm Raven is -1 damage. What? Okay. Color me interested. T10 hover aircraft. Hover mode aircraft, I think, are gonna prove to be probably one of the strongest weapon unit types. And then one thing that we haven't decided yet, it is unclear in the rulebook, and we talked about this on stream the other day, is that if you are aircraft and transporting something, so if you are a Storm Raven and you're transporting whatever, like a bunch of Gravis or a Dreadnought model or something, then when you disembark is unclear. So it may be that you can disembark after deep striking, but it's unlikely. These used to have assault ramps too, and I guess they don't anymore. But you can have... you start with the Storm Strike Missile Launchers, which is... So it'd be 2 Strength 10 AP... What is it? AP 3? AP 2, 3 damage. A Typhoon Missile Launcher. It's so many missile launchers. So I have two separate types of missile launchers, which is just a normal missile launcher, basically. And a Twin Assault Cannon. It can take a Twin Las Cannon, Twin Plasma Cannon, and Twin Heavy Bolter. And 2 Hurricane Bolters. But the Hurricane Bolters are amazing. I think you always take the Hurricane Bolters. Unless they're insanely expensive. Because the 24 shots full rerolling is amazing. Or rerolling wounds. This is another thing where you can... Basically everything on the vehicle is twin linked. If you give it +1 to hit with a Techmarine... it's hitting on 2s and then rerolling every single wound roll, because every single weapon besides the Typhoon, besides the missile launchers, is a twin linked weapon. And you can replace the missile launchers with or at least the Typhoon missile launcher with a twin linked, another twin linked hull mounted weapon. So you just reroll everything all the time. Hitting on 2s, rerolling everything. Let's go. Space Marine Flyer is a better tank than a Death Guard. Not incorrect. That's pretty close. Hammerfall Bunker is here. Each time a range attack is allocated to a model, if it's not fully visible because of the fortification, that model has the benefit of cover. So it has the Imperial Guard super heavy roll. I love that. It actually makes it kind of a bunker. Sweet. It has the defensive array ability, which is the same thing that the it's exactly the same as the Spore Assist. It's an identical rule. And it shoots up to 4 times. But it's twin linked again. Oh my god, dude. You like compare the 2 units and you're just like, Jesus Christ. But this one will be more expensive. And it doesn't play Spore Mines, so I think it's a little bit different. So yeah, it's just shooting 4 times rerolling wound rolls. And it's not a vehicle. So they took the vehicle keyword away, so you can't Techmarine it anymore. It is a fortification. So it has the fortification keyword. So I guess fortifications don't have any special rules anymore. So this might need some clarification, because I don't know if they've clarified dash movement units. Unless they have, right? I don't know where that would have been described. Maybe even move the movement phase rules. Because they can potentially like strategic reserve, and they can, I think, combat move. So yeah, I don't know. Well, an enemy unit is only in engagement range with 1 or more fortifications from your army. It can still be selected as the target of range attacks. But you get -1 to hit. So everyone gets like reverse big guns never tire against it, basically. Models do not need to take a desperate escape test due to falling back while battle shocked, except for those that will move around. Every models will do in doing so. But it can gain cover. Like, what? So this is like a 2+ save T12, and it probably goes to a 1-up save because you just place it so it's like slightly behind a wall. Jesus. That's pretty silly. Well, dash is different than 0, right? Because dash usually means you can't move, but I don't think they've ever specified that. So let's see. Well, I guess you can search fortifications in the rulebook, right? Fortifications. 2 entries. So you can't strategic reserve it, so that's good. But to my knowledge, I believe that it combat moves if you engage it, right? So it like piles in and consolidates. It doesn't attack, but I think it can move. I guess it's also OC0, so you don't have to worry about holding objectives. But that's like weird, right? Yeah, I don't know. We'll get a clarification when the designer notes thing come out. Cool. Let's keep moving. So we have special characters. We're on the last stretch here, chat. We're almost done. Only have about 15 special characters to talk about. Captain Sicarius. He gives his unit 6-inch scout, and all of the models in your unit have assault. Oh my god. What can he join? Assault Command, Stern Guard Veterans, Tactical Squads, and Vanguard Veterans. Okay. Giving all your weapons the assault characteristic is pretty cool. It doesn't work on Stern Guard, right? Because they're already assault. So I guess it's okay on tacticals, maybe? I don't know. Or just on the normal assault squad, so you could advance, shoot, and charge if you're in Assault Doctrine. He has lightning assaults, which gives you a normal move of 6 inches. So you just get the tactical stratagem for freezies, and then he's just a relic blade in melee, but he has lethal hit. All right, well, seems okay. He's a cool plasma pistol. It's always overcharged. He just doesn't have to roll for it. 5 wounds, so he's a little bit harder to kill for a 2 wound precision. You can't join anything with an invuln, yeah. 1+ save is just a 2+ save with a +1 effect on it. You can't, like, it doesn't auto pass. You still automatically fail your natural ones on saving throws, but you basically ignore the first point of AP value that you have, or that your attacker has. A 1+ save is like the colloquialism basically for that. Cassius. Wow, his weapon's rocks. So it's the combi weapon, but like the flamer half, not the bolter half. So it's devastating wound, anti-infantry 4+, but with D6 shots and torrent. So it automatically hits. And his AP 1 ignore cover. That's a good gun right there. That's what that is. He's okay in melee. He gives you... Oh, excuse me. He gives you devastating wounds. And then all your stuff fights on death on a 4+. But a lot of times you would be fighting on death anyway for 2 CP. I guess if your CP is... But you're in Ultramarines. You have a free fight on death from Gilliman. I don't know how much that ability matters. Yeah, I think you mostly take him because his gun is sweet. He's also T4. He used to be T5, right? Because he was tougher to kill. It's a little funky. Tiggy. While he's leading unit, you get -1 to be hit, just like in the old edition. In addition, once per battle round, you can target the unit with counter-offensive fire, Overwatch, go to ground, heroic intervention for free. What? Holy shit. Okay. I guess it's like kind of it's worse than his ability, like because he used to just be really, really, he was almost guaranteed to be casting the gain a CP power, but now he just does it, but he has to use it on a particular stratagem. So I guess that makes sense. I don't know if you take these guys over the normal, like, offensively oriented characters. Like, I don't know if buffing a random infantry unit to make it slightly harder to kill is really that worthwhile. But -1 to be hit and, like, permanent go to ground basically is, like, pretty good. Because I don't know how often you use go to ground. Importantly, though, this is a free stratagem ability, but doesn't let you override the normal stratagem restriction. So you can't, like, Overwatch multiple times with his effect. Calgar. Does he just come with Victrix Honor Guard now? He does, so he's a whole unit. Oh, shit. So he, like, really... he really increases the size of your units that you attach him to. Jeez. You can shoot and charge at a certain which you fall back. Okay. Marnius Calgar has Feel No Pain 4+, as long as you have a Victor's Honor Guard, so he can't really be precisioned, and he gives you a CP. But only when he's on the battlefield. So if he's embarked in a transport or in reserve, he doesn't do it. And then he's twin-linked in melee. His guns are twin-linked. The Honor Guards are 2 damage, finally. They don't have the weird 1 damage power sword that they, like, was a weird holdover from 8th edition. But he's 6 attack, strength 8, AP 3, 3 damage, rerolling his wound rolls. That's solid, actually. He's good in melee. He was always weirdly underpowered in melee, but that's actually a pretty solid profile. Is he the only CP game in the besides refunds off of comms arrays in the faction? Sergeant Cronus. Can command a vehicle. You make it 2+ ballistic skill. And you reroll a wound roll. He can go into Annihilators. Annihilators or Vindicators seem good with his buff. He definitely helps out that Annihilator, like, because then the big gun automatically rerolls, and he gets a floating reroll on the little guns on the side las cannons. So it becomes a little bit closer to the output of the Lancer, because you get the damage rerolls baked in because of the Annihilator's ability, you get the floating wound reroll because of Cronus, and then you get the hit buff anyway. RIP to anyone who bought multiple Victrix. Yeah, for sure. But you can use those as other things. Like, you could just use the Victrix Honor Guard to represent, like, the Indomitus Lieutenant profile, right? Like, it's the same weapons. Or you can just bake them into a Stern Guard unit. They're just, like, there's so many profiles in Space Marines for a 40mm base dude who has a sword and a shield that, like, I think having extra Victrix models isn't really, like, the end of the world. And I think, like, I mean, the Victrix Honor Guard, I think, are unironically kind of a cool model, so... I like that they're actually in, like, a defensive pose, like, real Roman legionary energy going on on these guys, so I think it's okay. He has Lone Operative when he disembarks. He's a 2+ save, 3 wounds, and he's a 3 damage in melee randomly. That's cool. So he's, like, embarked in a vehicle until it's destroyed, and then he just disembarked like it was a transport. That's much cleaner than any of the other, like, abilities before. Cronus used to be kind of a mechanical nightmare, but it makes a lot more sense now that he's just a single occupant embarking guy. I like Cronus. He's always been a little bit too pricey. He's like a 60-point upgrade or something to a tank, which is always a little bit too much, but like 20 or 30 points, I think you buy him for sure. Tellion's back. He's got a 3 damage precision weapon. Oh, it shoots 2 times, though. That's solid. And hits on 2s. It's not heavy anymore. He gives +1 objective control and +1 to hit to his unit. Fuck me. Okay. Each time they're selected to shoot or fight, you get lethal hit, precision, sustained hits. Talion. You seem great. We're back with Ultramarines being, like, having, like, all the sweet characters for sure. Tyrannic War Veterans. We get some anti-Tyrannid hate. They're 4+ anti-Tyrannid with devastating wounds. Yeah. All weapons they're equipped with, so it works in their bolt guns too. Love that. It used to be that these guys were... they were superior to a tactical squad profile, but they had they were cheaper than tactical marines. They weren't OBSEC because they weren't troops, but they were like 3 or 4 points cheaper because they just never updated their points value. So you were paying, like, you know, like I think you were paying firstborn, like 1 wound firstborn marine points for them at one point, even though they were 2 wound and, like, extra attacks. Uriel Ventress. Can target a unit with a stratagem even if the stratagem has already been used, and you can still be selected even if you're battle shocked. So that is but it's not free. You just get it in addition. So it's like it's like a side grade from Rites of Battle. I guess it's like, yeah, it's a side grade from Rites of Battle, I guess. You can deep strike with any infantry in your army. It doesn't have to be the one that he's leading, importantly. And he can go into Intercessors and stuff. The G-Man! We've talked about G-Man a million times. I don't know if we need to go over him again. Lysander. Well, you're leading a unit. Each time an attack targets the unit you get the like Blight Lord transhuman effect, so you can never be wounded on better than a 3, and most of the time you're being wounded on a 4. Once per battle at the start of any phase, he can gain a 2+ invulnerable save for the phase. That's cool. He's 6 wounds, 5 attack, strength 10, AP 3, 3 damage, and again to use. Lysander's pretty solid. Tor. Oh, what can he join? Is it just Terminators? Yeah, lame. Torgaradon. Ranged attacks get lethal hits and ignore cover. Oh, eat your heart out, Apothecary Biologus. He has a Artificer Grav Gun, which is just a 2+ BS Grav Gun. Okay. And he improves the strength, armor penetration, and damage characteristic of his attacks by 2 with all of his attacks against monster vehicles and fortifications. So his Artificer Grav Gun anti-vehicle AP1 or AP3 for 4 damage against vehicles winning on 2s. So that dude just like rips up tanks. And then he becomes AP4 4 damage in melee. Strength 14, AP4 4 damage in melee. Whoa. Okay, Torgaradon, calm down. We have to all stop making fun of Imperial Fist now, I think, is the takeaway. All right, awkwardly, Pedro Cantor has the Imperial Fists keyword. So he can enter Imperial Fist armies. He's not separate. Crimson Fist isn't separate anymore, I guess. He is Chapter Master keyworded. And I assume Marneus Calgar is Chapter Master keyworded. So the cool thing about Marneus Calgar that means is that you can add 4 characters to a unit because you get the 2 Victrix Honor Guards and then Marneus Calgar. And he can join like Aggressors or something. So you can make like a 10 model Aggressor squad or a 10 model Blade Guard veteran squad. Not that those can go into transports though. There's no transports big enough. But yeah, I don't know. If you're waddling around the table, it's kind of cute. And then Pedro over here. Oh, does he have a special ability? Oh. He's treated as an Imperial Fist model, but can't be included in Imperial Fist without any Imperial Fist epic heroes. That's stupid. All right, well, get wrecked, Imperial Fist players. I guess it does make sense. Gabriel Seth has that. I should have known. But I guess that is future proofing, so that you can just play Crimson Fist if Imperial Fist get any special detachments or something. Once per battle, you can get +1 to the attacks characteristic of weapons equipped by models in his unit at the start of either player's command phase until the end of the turn. So that works in both melee and ranged. And then what can he join into? Anything cool? Command, Sternguard Veteran, Tacticals? Yeah. Might be cool on command squads, I guess. Because they have special weapon Marines, so you can get like 2-shot melta-guns or something. And then he gets +1 to hit if you're below starting strength, +1 to wound if you're below half. Nah. Also kind of whatever. A lot of these characters, I think, unfortunately, just get like sunk by their ability to attach. Like, that's a legitimately good effect, and it would be cool on a lot of units, but like, not on a tactical Marine squad. Like, who cares at that point? We already talked about Fieros. He gives his whole unit 5+ feel no pain, but Fieros is in a little bit of an odd situation because he wants to hang out with vehicles to repair them and buff them. And if he's in a big squad that he's granting feel no pain to, it doesn't do anything. I guess Eradicators would be the answer. He can join Eradicators, and they're usually like at the same. They're like at the same line that the vehicles are in, so it's actually not too bad. He has just a regular heavy bolter now. It's not special. And he has 1 billion melee attacks. He doesn't freak out when his vehicles die though. I guess it's like a calculated loss, right? The Iron Hands aren't that worried about it. Cave and Shrike. His unit cannot be targeted by ranged attacks outside 12, so he just gives them an operative. That's solid. And at the end of your opponent's turn, they can go into strategic reserve. That's also solid. He's 7 attacks, twin linked, strength 5, AP 2, 2 damage, precision. Oof. And he can go into jump pack, assault squads, and Vanguard veterans. Yeah. Yeah, the Vanguard veterans just seem like such a miss. It's weird that the assault squads are better. Adrax. When you're leading a unit, you get rerolls, wound rerolls in melee. More rerolls. Everything's twin linked all the time. When an enemy unit is within engagement range of his model, not his unit, his model, have the objective control characteristic. That's good. What can he join? Can he like randomly go into command squads that are like OC2 or 3? No. Stern Guard veterans, intercessors, Infernus, assault intercessors. I guess you're like all of the stuff he can slot into is really like bad at fighting, but I guess full wound rerolls makes it a little bit nicer. So he's sort of shoring up the weaknesses of an otherwise pretty garbage unit. Like the idea of attaching Phobos to flame aggressors in a repulsor, but the problem is that he doesn't like. You want him to be standing next to the repulsor, not inside the repulsor, because he can't give the repulsor +1 to hit if he's standing if he's inside it. He needs to be outside it. You need to make use of his Techmarine abilities in order to get your points worth for him, I think. Which is why he's always been a little bit weird. He's always been like, hey, I buff infantry, but also I need to be next to my vehicles to protect them. And you're like, all right, so which one am I doing? Make up your mind, Phobos. Are you an infantry guy or are you a vehicle guy? Vulcan. Select one enemy unit within 24 inches invisible until the end of the phase each time an astartes model makes a ranged attack with a torrent or melt a weapon, reroll wounds. So, well, we do get the salamander. The old salamander spice is back. Reroll wound rolls with big stuff. Hilariously, he has like anti-synergy with eradicators, because eradicators like already reroll. But he's really good with like Pyroblasters squads, like the Infernus squads, or Flamestorm aggressors. Well, Flamestorm aggressors also already reroll. So Valiants or like Grav Devastators with multi-meltas. Attack bike squads, I guess. Select one objective marker on the battlefield. While this model is within range of that objective marker, it has an objective control characteristic of 10. That's so rad. That is a very cool ability. So you just windmill slam his ability in the center objective and then just like run at it. And he can join Infernus squads and command squads and assault squads. Man, Vulcan Heston is a fucking Chad. This guy's awesome. He's 5 wounds, a 2+, 4+. Oh, he lost his 3+ invulnerable. That's sad. But with a 5+, feel no pain. Does he get... There's no healing for characters, right? That's just a Death Guard thing now in this codex. So he's not like that hard to kill once you get through his armor. Or he's only 5 wounds, but it's still not awesome. There's so many rerolls that the reroll characters are bad. I mean, you're like unironically not really wrong. It does feel like this faction's going to get a little bit like complex just remembering exactly what you reroll against. Because you're like, all right, which of my weapons reroll? So like some of my weapons reroll because they're twin linked. Some reroll because they're meltas, but only against specific models. Some reroll because they're Ozda moments, but only against other models. Like, which one is it? Corsaro Khan gives you assault on your ranged weapons, and lance on your melee weapons. Okay. You gain a CP every time he destroys an enemy character. And he's 6 attacks, strength 5 AP, 2 damage, so he's just like a relic weapon. Devastating wounds and precision. I like all the characters have like the same stat block. They're like all move 6. I guess he's a 3+ save instead of a 2+ save. Yeah, but they're all basically all move 6, 5 wounds, T4, like OC1 lead 6 basically. He lost his little burb. His burb doesn't do it. Oh, he lost his little bird. Sad. There's no cool bird stuff. What did he join though? Assault Intercessors, Intercessors, Sternguard Veterans. Everybody joins Sternguard Veterans and then buffs their melee. I guess you put him into Assault Intercessors. And those are reroll wounds anyway. So that's like, no, come back. So that gives you some like scenario flexibility on your by giving their pistols assault, and then with +1 to wound and rerolls, they wound the whole game on 4s or 5s, and they reroll all the wound rolls, which is very good if you're on an objective. So that's probably all right. It's weird that you can't. I kind of want to put him in a like foot assault squad. Who goes into foot assault squads? Is it anybody? Just like the duelist Ultramarine guys? Cato Sicarius? Yeah, Cato Sicarius does. And he makes them 6-up scout. So Cato Sicarius just turns an assault squad into a Vanguard veteran squad, basically. That's funny. I don't know. It seems pretty good. Imagine having no bike characters in a White Scars army. I mean, yeah, it is weird that Corsaro-Con has never gotten a bike profile. And the only bike like they had the Khan, which is always just a captain, with who had like a special weapon they could take. There was always like a really weird idiosyncrasy of the faction for sure. A lot of the characters can join Stern Guard, but not Blade Guard. Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is that like if you put Adrax into a Blade Guard veteran unit, he goes kind of ape shit, right? Because suddenly you have this like strength 5 unit that's rerolling everything. But again, that's like, I don't know, just let everybody do that. Why aren't we like spreading the cool buffs around? I don't know, chat. I do wish that the character assignment was unlocked a little bit more. I do get it a little bit. You don't want to be like you don't want to create an instance where there's just a combination of a character and a unit that you just take all the time. But on the flip side, it feels like a lot of the characters just don't get played instead, and that's a little bit less exciting to me, honestly. But some of these are great. I do think that, like, I mean, once you get down to it, right, beyond the basic characters and the basic infantry, like, the number of rerolls in this faction is, like, nuts, so absolutely insane. And it's not like their weapons are bad either, so I am curious to see their points value. I think this is going to be a real points value kind of question because holy crap, do they seem good. What do we think, chat? Pretty good? Euro Deep Strikes in Furnace that shoot in an Overwatch. It does seem pretty sweet. It'd be interesting if you could put any leader in any unit. Yeah, I do think, like, Space Marines, at least, you do have to restrict it a little bit because they have so many leader options that I think you end up, like I said, you just end up with, like, a best-in-slot pick. But for the factions with less options, I think it's going to be unfortunate that you can't mix and match a little bit more to, like, kind of artificially increase their selection. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, if you could add all of the melee buff dudes to Stern Guard, you would just do that every time, and it would be kind of boring. Or not to Stern Guard, excuse me, to Blade Guard veterans. I don't know. Want to see Tiburos the Red Wake? Ooh. Oh, the Legends datasheet? Yeah. I wouldn't expect too much out of the Legend datasheets, honestly, chat. I think they're going to be like Captain copy pastas, unfortunately. And before Space Marines are cheap and their equipment has no cost, yeah, that might be the case. And then we're just playing Space Marine tank battles for the rest of the edition. I mean, that'd be kind of cool. Space Marine tanks are cool, but they're I weep for other factions. I do think it does puzzle me, like how you crack some of these units for sure, without just dying. But we'll have to play some games. I'll play some games this weekend. Anyway, chat, this has been a long stream. We're just about to hit 3 hours, but we did go through like 120 data sheets. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up for the day. Thanks everyone for coming and hanging out with me while we went through this. Really appreciate all the people who dropped super chats and stuff. I'm gonna do some streaming on Twitch over the weekend. I have a game that is tentatively scheduled for Sunday. That's gonna be a 9th edition game though. And then Saturday, I'm going to try to play some 10th edition games, and we're going to make up points values, I think. Anyway, I will talk to you later. Thanks, everyone, for chilling. If you have not already, please follow me over on the Purple channel. There's a link in the link tree that's in the video description. And then also all of my VODs, especially my 10th edition VODs, I'm going to try to get them up as quickly as I can over on the replay channel. So that's youtube.com/TacticalTortoise There's a link down in the link tree as well. Please go drop a subscribe there if you want to see those. There's a bunch of other like VODs from 9th edition that are still going up. I have a couple left in the chamber, basically, from the last couple of weeks, and there is some Speed Freak gameplay going up as well. The alpha for that just ended, but I think we'll have news of another alpha flight pretty soon, hopefully. Crossing my fingers, because that game rocks so hard. Anyway, cheers, everybody, and I will talk to you in the next one. Remember to keep it classy, folks, and goodbye.